This year has reminded us of the importance of saving for the unexpected. And as a bank, our job is to make that a little easier for everyone. That's why at Huntington, we're so proud to introduce Money Scout. It analyzes your checking account to find money that's not being used and moves it to your savings automatically. It's that simple, so you can always be saving, even now. Learn more and enroll at huntington.com/moneyscout. Huntington, welcome. Money Scout is subject to eligibility, terms and conditions, and other account agreements. Member FDIC.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 192. This is the first of our two Wrestle Kingdom 15 live reaction shows as well. So for the Omakase patrons, they got to listen to this live if they wanted, at 7 a.m. on a Monday. So, all of you who did tune in, thank you very much. Actually, the number counter is going up now, so thank you for jumping on here. The patrons also got access to it for, the rest of the week early before it went up for the free feed. So if you want to catch, future live events like this, and lots of other great content too, it is patreon.com/wrestlingomakase. Not going to belabor the plug though, because the people listening live already are patrons, obviously. But yes, we're here to talk about Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 1, which I thought was a really good show. I mean, honestly, about as good as they could have done under the circumstances, I thought. I mean, everything that needed to landed really strongly, I thought. The atmosphere really was not as bad as I was expecting at all. But we'll get into all of that once I introduce my guests here, because we have a full panel here. First of all, we have the man plugged today on the show, of course, Mr. Chris Samsa. Hi, Chris.
Oh, hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today? Very tired.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, not that tired, just a little bit.
I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what tired feels like anymore.
But yes, thank you for coming on. Also here is also from Voices of Wrestling, John Hernandez. Hi, John.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Pretty good. It was a wild night in the Voices of Wrestling Slack as well on this show, which maybe we'll talk about.
I'm still all kinds of fired up from it, but I'm coming down. I'm currently I'm hidden away in my terrifying basement where there's nowhere to sit because it's the only place in the house where I won't wake somebody up. So I just wanted to say this fandom for Japanese wrestling is horrible. It's, it's a horrible thing to get into. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Also, I am in the kitchen, which I'm not normally in. So hopefully we don't have any kind of if there's any disconnects or internet problems, I apologize. I'm usually plugged into my router in my room, but I could not do that for this show because of it's 7 a.m. My girlfriend's trying to sleep. Also, Joel Abraham from the Super J-Cast is not on the show, but he is in the chat and said hello. Hi, Joel. Anyway, so also here we have Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's up? Somebody's echoing, by the way. I think it might be you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Jeff. What's up?
Not much. Hating whites, per the usual.
Hating whites. No, again, a joke that nobody is going to get, but
That's
was
Jay Whites, right? Jay.
Jay Whites. No, get it.
It will pop me and anyone else on the Voice Wrestling Flag. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on. And finally, also returning, who was on pretty recently, but not from Voices of Wrestling, but from the Super JCast Discord. I guess we can say that's your home base, Mr. Liam McCann. Hi, Liam.
Hi, John. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Very tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to power through it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? But we're here to talk about Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 1. Just like last year, I think the best thing to do is start at the top and work our way down. It just seems like a better idea with we'll probably have more energy at the start here, and I know I'll definitely drop off by the end. So that means we'll start with the main event, where Kota Ibushi defeated Tetsuya Naito in 31-18 to become the new IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion. Naito, for the second time, fails in his second defense. So Ibushi is now the 73rd Heavyweight Champion, the 27th Intercontinental Champion. He beat him with the Kamigoe. I guess my overall thoughts on this match was it was outstanding. We're going to talk a lot about, I think, the atmosphere and stuff and what it did and didn't do, and I'll try. There's some notes I had during the match recap that I really want to hit upon because there was one moment in particular where I guess I'll just bring it up now. They're trading these elbows, and this crowd is clapping so loud that these claps echo around the dome, and it created an entirely different kind of reaction that than you normally had in a in a normal Tokyo Dome, and it was it was a totally different kind of crowd noise you would normally get in a dome show. So I thought it was a really cool moment where it's yes, obviously this sucks. The whole situation sucks. We'd rather have a full dome and cheering people, but it was really cool to get a different kind of moment than you would normally get in a Tokyo Dome. The atmosphere in general, I thought really kind of held up a lot better than I thought it would. I was really scared that the crowd would not be able to, make any noise, but they clapped extremely loud, especially for this match. It felt like they saved their clapping hands up all match long or all night long and really let it fly during this match. And, there were times where they broke the protocol and, even made, audible reactions that happened in the semi-main as well. But yeah, just, the crowd I thought was way better than I was expecting. And, these two had an outstanding match and, they really delivered a Tokyo Dome worthy main event, in the hardest of circumstances. It's not my all-time favorite match of theirs. There's others that I still slightly prefer, but this was a 4 3/4 star match, an absolutely outstanding match, and definitely worthy of being a Dome main event. I guess before I get into any specific spots or anything, what did you think of the match overall, Chris? What were your thoughts?
Well, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm kind of the resident Kota Ibushi fan, I guess, one of many, I'm sure, but to see him finally get the win on night 1 in Tokyo Dome against Naito, a series that I rewatched through just yesterday. I watched all 8 of the previous matches while I put stuff together. And those guys, they have such good chemistry, and it's violent and nuts, but it's what they want to do. So I'm not going to be the safety police for it. They beat the hell out of each other, and the moment that sticks out for me is the moment at the end where Naito hands Ibushi the belts, which is so different from Naito losing the belts to Evil. And, I think, I don't know, I don't think it's a passing of the torch or anything like that. I just think it's respect, right? And it's a really cool relationship that these two have where they can drop each other on their heads for 35 minutes, whatever it was tonight, and still, have respect for each other. So that's a really cool, very kind of neat New Japan relationship that I don't think has ever gotten, it's never gotten quite the shine that it should. And I think it was cool to see it in the main event on January 4th.
Yeah. I thought it was, just like you said, to have this big important feud be a Dome main event now. It was really, really cool. And, really the only one left, I guess, for Naito that hasn't gotten a Dome main event is Naito Omega, but I don't know about the chances of that happening anytime soon. John, what did you think of big picture thoughts, I guess, on this Naito Ibushi match?
I liked it a lot. There are things about it. So, like, both the 2019 matches they had are like all timers for me, right? And obviously, those had full crowds, but those had like, a shorter runtime and different expectations because they were intercontinental title matches, and I had to adjust a little to the expectations of in length and like grandiosity of a Dome IWGP title match. But I think they did a great job, filling in that space, dealing with the crowd. Huge like holy shit moments throughout the match, and I'm glad you brought up those the clapping to those elbows was such like a tremendous moment to me. Each of those elbows sounded like thunder crashing with the way the crowd was clapping, like individual claps of each of those elbows and stuff like that. That was real special. I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like the elbow thing really stood out to me as like an example of the crowd reaction just being very different, but not in a bad way in that moment, at least. Jeff, I guess big picture thoughts on Naito and Ibushi.
Obviously the match was great. I'm not going to say anything about that anyone hasn't already said. I am not the resident Ibushi stan, ironically, because I think he's just too, I don't want to say too perfect, but that's kind of the gist, right? He's good at everything. He's annoyingly good looking. There's nothing to cling to in terms of a flaw. So I guess I find myself detached from him as a character.
That's how I feel about Okada, honestly, more than Ibushi.
Same, both actually. But I'm obviously an unabashed, Naito fan, so it stings a little. But I think everyone knew it was coming. It's not like I didn't have time to prepare for it. The match itself was great. These two have fantastic chemistry. I don't know why they are so hell-bent on killing each other. It's a very weird dynamic they have that could only really make sense in the context of a New Japan ring, and definitely worth staying up to watch. It was great.
Yeah, and I guess from the Naito fan perspective, obviously I'm a bit of a Naito fan myself. The whole thing, like you said, we kind of knew he was losing. I think it was pretty obvious, at least to me. I think a lot of people felt the same way. And there was one moment in the match where I thought for a second, maybe he will actually win this thing, and I'll get to it in a sec. But my whole vibe going into it was I don't know if I would like it if Naito wins. It would be almost like the opposite, being on the opposite side of Wrestle Kingdom 12, right? And being I got to, these Ibushi fans are all desperate to finally get their moment here with the title. And, I have to be the one who's haha, fuck you, my guy won. And it's I don't know if I want to do that, I don't know if I really want to be in that position. So I really don't mind Naito losing this. I do think the people... You
die or live long enough to become a Lanza.
Yeah. I do think the people here who, can he tweet in Japanese, as Joel Abraham just reported. Anyway, what was I going to say? But yeah, I do think the people who think Naito passed the torch to Ibushi and now he's going to ride into the sunset and he'll never be seen again. I just kind of think that's not true at all. And I think they're pretty clearly building to Naito Okada at the Dome next year as one of the main events. They've already been taking shots at each other in interviews and stuff, and it just seems very obvious to me. So, I don't really expect Kota to be a super long-term champion, and I don't really think he's, I think the title or the G1 or something is going to go back to Naito this year, and they'll be doing Naito Okada next year. But I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, but that's how I feel right now. And, even if it doesn't happen, he had his moment. It's not like I'm, I don't begrudge the Ibushi fans getting their moment too.
Right. There are a lot of friends of mine who are really invested in the Ibushi story, and that's something that I think can only really happen in New Japan, right? The way people get attached to your Ibushis, your Tanahashis, your Naitos. I think it's very exclusive to New Japan. In New Japan in general, and so seeing Booze from the Super J-Cast Discord or J Mike from the side, seeing those people kind of get their guy finally get to see them over the hump. It's nice.
Yeah. Liam, any big picture thoughts or anything else on what we've been talking about?
So first thing, I think this was a very good match. This is where I sort of put my stick in the drink a little bit. So I don't really have much of an emotional investment with Naito, and I have zero emotional investment with Ibushi. And so for that, I think that hurts my enjoyment of this match a lot. I think they've had better matches in the past. The G127 match, I think it was like night 1, is like an excellent, outstanding match. I really love their New Japan Cup 2019 match. I don't think this match hit the heights of either of those matches, in my personal opinion anyway. I really struggle with Ibushi as a character. I really struggle with him, like as Jeff was saying, like there's something about that character arc and sort of like how he's portrayed, especially in comparison with Tanahashi, which I think really hurts him in my eyes. I think he comes off to me as like sort of like a slightly less charismatic, less relatable Tanahashi, and that really I'm not really drawn into his like ascent up the mountain as a result. And so watching this match, I thought it was like a very good match, and like I actually thought it was like notably less dangerous than a couple of other matches in the past, which is like I'm not a safety police member, but I thought that was a little nice to see, I guess. But like when Ibushi, like I think there's also like some big flaws in this match, like as a result from like the way it was constructed and some of the story points that happened as a result. But like seeing Ibushi win, and I actually kind of didn't think he was going to win. I think the way he was portrayed coming out of G1 and sort of in those Korokans, he came was like a bit cold to me. So seeing him like have that victory and have that moment of like ascending to the top and winning the big championship, like it's a nice moment for an Ibushi fan. It's a nice moment if you're a Naito fan who's invested in the Naito Ibushi feud. For me, who's a really big Jay White guy, who's an Okada guy, I'm like I left a little cold by this story, personally.
Yeah, that's fair. And I agree that they didn't do a great job building Kota up, but it still felt really obvious to me that he was going to win because it's like Naito has no story with Jay White and Kota does. So that's, I guess, where...
Well...
Sorry, go ahead.
I think Jay White has stories with both of them, but I think the big story is Jay and Kota.
Yeah. I mean, at this moment, I guess, it didn't feel like he had a big story with Naito. But yeah.
Like, watching the Korokans at the, in December, this felt like a weirdly cold match going in.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd, though, fucking was more up for this than anything on the entire show. So clearly it didn't... Well, yeah. Clearly it didn't impact their enjoyment at all, so... I mean, anyone who watches this and is like, oh, I don't... Naito and Kota or not... I just don't know on what planet you'll be watching this match and not think they're both enormous stars. Now, my hot take I will give here is at the end of this match, when Naito passed the belts to Kota, it was very WrestleMania 6 to me, with Naito as Hogan and Kota as the Ultimate Warrior, and it's like the vibes to me were still like, okay, Tetsuya Naito is still obviously the bigger star, even though he lost this match and handed this man the belts. It just, I don't know. It's just the vibe I got, and obviously I'm very biased towards Naito, even though I do love Kota quite a bit too. But that was... I
don't think that's unfair, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
someone else said
Naito
it too.
Is the bigger star.
Yeah.
Naito is the bigger star, and I think if you were going through, like the mountain of New Japan in terms of who has the star power, Ibushi, even with the title, I wouldn't say it's like an evil world title reign, but he's not a bigger star than Okada. He's not a bigger star than Naito. Until the day Tanahashi retires, he may be higher on the card, but he's not a bigger star than Tanahashi. So it's unfortunate that Ibushi is, as great as he is, he's never actually going to get like the chance to be the guy. It just won't work out for him.
Well, we went through...
He's never going to exceed the popularity of like a...
Yeah, we went through his title reigns with the KOD and DDT on the DDT interview show we did on the Patreon last week, and it's like they're all 90 days or less, and he's like very much he feels like a chase, not a chase guy, not like a, as in it's all in the chase for him and not really all in like title reign. So I don't know if he's going to be... I mean, I'm not saying maybe he'll hold the fucking titles all year long for all I know. But
no, he won't. I think he loses it to Jay tomorrow, or he loses it to Ospreay at Soccer Genesis.
I don't think he loses to Jay tomorrow, but I think he loses. I think he goes to Soccer Genesis. That's my best guess too. But before we get into that, let's get into some notes from the actual match. So I think some of the stuff they did. I mean there was some really crazy stuff. They started off very slow to the point where I actually kind of thought, maybe I think Joel was pushing the the 60-minute draw theory a lot, and I saw other people pushing it, and I was starting to think, maybe they are gonna do a 60-minute draw here. But the slow period didn't last that long, and they started doing more stuff pretty quickly. There's a German suplex on the ramp. There was this really very subtle little spin counter that Naito did where he almost do Kota into the ropes instead of an Irish whip. No one else ever really does that, and it looked really great, I thought. And then, of course, right after that, he took the opposite of subtle. He took a bump right down directly on his neck for a lariat on the apron, which, I saw people on Twitter, cringing and stuff, and it's you are like a little baby. I don't know what else to tell. Why? If you're gonna go that cringe that much from one lariat on the apron, it's of course he's gonna land directly on his neck. This man would land directly on his neck for an apron lariat on a Road to Korakuen or something, or he'd probably do it for a house show in Kanagawa. I mean, that's just Tetsuya Naito. So I don't know if these people thought they were watching. I thought the first Ibushi also was well, let me land on my neck too, I guess, and landed right on his neck for a neck breaker off the apron. Naito was laying in these elbows after the 15-minute call, which the first 15 minutes of this flew by. I mean, the entire match did, really. And Kota was doing a great job selling them like death. And then Ibushi hits this insane Rana off the apron to Naito that he just goes flying for, crashes leg first into the railing. It looked like just fucking crazy. Leads to a really great count-out tease. And then, they get up to the 25-minute call. There's before that, there's a reverse Rana off the top rope. And then Naito reversed the Kamigoe attempt from Kota straight into the counter Destino. They pulled that off perfectly. I mean, just perfect timing there. That gets a 2 count. Ibushi comes back with the Gonzo bomb or the bastard driver, whatever the hell it's called. Just drops Naito straight down his neck. Again, 25-minute call at that point. Flew by. And then we had the big elbow exchange I already talked about. Naito hits this big rolling capo kick. Ibushi comes back with a huge short arm lariat. Then gets a power bomb and rolls Naito straight into the Kamigoe. That was a really cool spot, but I also kind of never thought he was pinning Naito there, so was not really shocked when Naito kicked out. And then Kota tried to go for the Phoenix Splash, and it missed. I want to actually ask you, Chris, because you're a huge Ibushi fan. When he missed that Phoenix Splash after hitting the Kamigoe and covering him, were you kind of nervous? Because to me, I was thinking, I wonder if that's his missed Stardust Press from Naito missing the Stardust Press in 2018, leading to his doom against Okada. That definitely went through my head.
Yeah, it crossed my mind, certainly. But it didn't feel like it was at the same moment, right? It didn't feel like it was the same swell of the match. So it didn't send me into a frenzy, but it certainly crossed my mind. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Believe me, I know that feeling. Kota hits a high kick, goes for another Kamigoe, hits it again. Naito kicks out a second time, and I'm that's why I was holy shit, is he going to win this? But we get the 30-minute call, and then Kota dragged him into a third Kamigoe, or tried to. Naito countered with Enziguri, hit Valentia, just did a roar to the crowd and went for the full wind-up Destino, but Kota caught him on his shoulder, and then Naito ends up back on his feet, but Kota hits the step-up knee attack. Finally, a third Kamigoe for the pin, which I thought was a perfect finish. Just the way he just catches Naito with that knee, and it helped that both those knees look brutal. And just, that's it. I mean, Naito couldn't do anything at that point. And then I already talked about the Hogan Warrior vibes at the end. And then Jay White comes out at the end to cut a promo to a very unimpressed looking Kota Ibushi. So Jay, the people listening to this as our regular weekly episode, or I don't know why I said Jay, Liam, the people who are listening to this as our regular Omakase episode will already know the answer to this. But for the people live, is Jay White defeating Kota Ibushi tomorrow? I know you're the big Jay White fan. Get on the record. Come on.
I think the answer is... Do you want me to put a number again, or do you just want a yes-no?
Yes, no.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, and now that you said yes, what's the percentage?
I'm going to say it's 65%.
Okay, wow.
I don't think it's super strong, but I feel like as you said before, Kota Ibushi is better as a chaser, not as the big champ.
But a day?
He's had the... Well, I mean, so the problem is, if you do a day-long reign, you kind of kill Kota Ibushi's heat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I also think like I totally think that's the true. I think that's true. But I also think that is exactly the thing that New Japan would do. They would take this moment of like having, they did this last year, take this moment of having like this incredible emotional high, and then they cut it off underneath you. Remember last year, you didn't get a roll call.
Yeah, which is why Naito's still going to win another Tokyo Dome main event probably.
Well, I don't know about that either. But I just feel like there's a fairly high chance at the moment that New Japan would take the route of like, okay, you've hit this high point, now we're going to sweep what's going on, sweep things underneath you. But then there's also like the counterpoint of like, okay, is Jay turning babyface? Is Jay getting kicked out of Bullet Club on Dash? All that sort of stuff as well, which I think is like a intriguing counterpoint that would require him to lose. But I still think he's winning.
Okay. Anybody else think that Jay White is winning tomorrow? If you do, jump in. Nobody's jumping in, so I assume the answer is
Jay
no.
White is winning tomorrow, John.
Okay, you really think so?
No, I mean, I definitely think there's a chance. I think there's a much higher chance than you do, only because the company this year has been pretty heel heavy, and I just think there might be. There's a bit of parity there because there's so many programs for both of them going either direction. Like Jay White has a whole fresh slate of programs. Coda has a fresh slate of programs with the title. But it's now or later, right? Yeah. So, so do I think Ibushi is? I don't know. It just feels like one of those like, and this could be because my mind is poisoned by like WWE, right? But like just the idea of a short reign just doesn't strike me as something that's impossible. And the way this is set up feels like it almost might be inclined towards that because it doesn't make sense for him to just. If Jay White loses, I know he's made, but he does kind of feel like a bit of a schmuck.
But now if he turns babyface in like 2 seconds and gets kicked out of Bullet Club.
I mean, yeah, you're on something there. So I think if he loses, he has to because his heel character's kind of spent at that point.
I mean, the question is like, are there more compelling challenges for Ibushi as a babyface, or are there more compelling challenges for White as a heel? Recognizing that there's not really been any big long heel runs with the title in quite a long time. Like AJ was the last big long heel champ.
Was that wasn't? But he only had like one defense. I thought even though the days looks kind of long, he only had like one defense.
Right. Yeah.
Because the way they structured those shows and they were made event with Intercontinental, they don't do big long heel runs. Is the thing? Like this era they've never had one. Like the longest AJ one, I believe, is like 120 days, but he only has one defense. So I'm going to look it up real quick, but I'm almost positive that's true. Because he wins it from Okada, or not Okada. He wins it from Tanahashi. Because the longer one is the second one, I think. Let's see. Okay, IWGP Heavyweight. Okay, yeah. The first one's 163 days. Okay, so it's 2 defenses, but one of them is against Okada and Michael Elgin at Ring of Honor show. So who gives a shit? And the second one, the 144 day one. Yes, his only defense is against Kota Ibushi at Invasion Attack, which is what I remembered. So, yeah. So he's not. They don't. I mean, the most, like I said, the most heel. That 2 defenses with one of them being a weird ROH 3-way is the most defenses by a heel in this era. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's not. They really love the 1 defense and 0 defense heel reigns.
Yeah, and I just kind of wonder whether they feel there's more juice in the Ibushi babyface run or in the White heel run. Yeah, that's the question. And I feel like even though I really want White to turn babyface personally, I feel like there's still more juice there. Yeah. To sort of pull out.
It's fair. But I guess we'll wait and see. I don't really. I mean, I would put it like a 5% for White. Like that's how strong I feel that Coda's going to win. But
nobody's ever won Tokyo Dome main events on 2 consecutive days.
That's true.
So there it is. Right off the top of my head. Didn't even have to look it up.
Hey, you know what? Kota Ibushi has never beaten Jay White in the Tokyo Dome. So, I mean,
and
I think this is a lock.
You all know that the briefcase winner almost always wins at the Tokyo Dome, right?
Yes, almost always.
Almost always. 1 out of 8 times. So, I mean,
that was some funny shit. That tweet, if people haven't seen it, that was people were like, "Oh, Jay White's gonna win, and Kota Ibushi's gonna go to AEW," and it's like they'll never let it die. John,
I regret not keeping the gates a little harder all those years ago. Anyway.
John, I don't think we've heard from you for a while, so any final thoughts, I guess, on any of this Naito, Ibushi, or Bushi White stuff?
Well, I mean, as far as what happens tomorrow, I think the biggest tell is that they're just not going to want to add Kota Ibushi to that video package before the title matches for a one-day title reign. It's just not worth the effort to plug that image in. So that's what I'm going with for making that prediction. So I feel like Kota Ibushi wins tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. Circling back to this match, one thing that I think someone touched on at some point was I feel like Kota Ibushi really went through a greater effort than he ever has before to, believe it or not, in this match, preserve his neck. The German suplex on the ramp, he takes the full flip. The poison rana, he takes the full flip so he doesn't land on his neck. He's preserving that neck for a long title reign, I think. So yeah, I think Ibushi wins tomorrow, and I don't know, I'm exhausted. This match was good.
Someone in the live chat, High Fly Flow, said, "Is the Kenny run a heel?" Which is a good question. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the Kenny run, of course, was beyond the realm of human comprehension because Kenny cannot be defined by these pro wrestling terms like babyface and heel. Obviously, he's making high art, so cannot call him.
Cannot be defined by heel, face, or royalty check.
He said he was a tweener, and I'm going to take him at his word. He did not appear to know what a tweener is during that run, but no, in my head, that run was a tweener, and he did have 2 defenses, so that would be another one, I guess, tied with the AJ run because he beat Ishii at Destruction, and he won that horrible 3-way. But yes. Anyway, so let's move over to the next match finally, because we cannot go this long in every match. But the main event deserves a lot of time. Semi-main event: Kazuchika Okada defeats Will Ospreay in 35-41 with a Rainmaker, so it went longer than the main event. I have a lot of thoughts, I guess, on the way this wrapped up the storyline more so than the actual match. I mean, I thought the match was pretty great. I mean, I'm not. I admitted on Twitter, like, these are 2 wrestlers I have no emotional connection to at all, probably like a negative emotional connection to, just I really don't care what either of them do ever. So it's not going to land with me the same way it's going to land with some other people. But even then I could tell it was a really good match. I mean, they just did a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of it was very cool. Will Ospreay pretty much kept the goofiness to a minimum. I mean, there were a couple moments when there was one moment where Okada was like hitting him with elbow shots to the gut, and Ospreay was saying, and I quote, "Oi, oi," and I don't really know why he was selling elbows to the gut by yelling "oi." It was very weird. And then I really thought his faces in the money clip looked goofy as hell. This apparently is controversial. I tweeted out like something about like the money clip. Or Ospreay's faces, and I think I tweeted like Ospreay's faces in the money clip. I was looking forward to them, and they didn't disappoint. And then, I think half the people who replied or quote tweeted that thought I was being serious and thought they were great, and the other half the people, knew that I was kidding and saying, they were horrible. So, Will Ospreay facial expressions, I guess, are like a fucking. What are those called? Like Rorschach tests or something? Where it's like anybody can see whatever they want in them. I see a goofball who doesn't know how to sell. Lots of other people think he's great. I don't know what to say there. But I mean, I still gave the match 4 stars. I still thought it was pretty awesome. But I am, even at 4 stars, I think I am the low person. So before I go into my problems with the long-term storyline, I guess, why don't you go ahead? I'll start with you this time, Liam. What did you think of the Okada and Ospreay match?
In short, I thought this was a really good match. It was probably the match of the night. I actually have like very little to say about it, though. They did every move.
They did do every move ever invented. It's true.
It was nice to see a Rainmaker. The crowd popped when the Rainmaker hit. I thought was awesome. And B. Priestley almost ruined this match for me with her ringside screeching. And that's about it.
I saw someone say she's as bad as like Paul Heyman now. So I guess Paul Heyman really screams a lot. But,
yeah, it's really distracting. It's really like, so I'm like downstairs right at the moment, and my housemate walked in while I was watching this match, and he went out to the kitchen, And he was like, "Who is that screaming? She's so loud." I'm like, "Oh, this is one of those embarrassing wrestling watching moments that I'm not going to live down for quite a while."
Well, there you go.
But
What did you think, Jeff, of this match?
The match was great. I mean, I'm personally not very high on Okada. He can still go, clearly. I'm unfortunately going to have to take the L on the idea that he has... Well, I think he's still regressed in terms of like how often he can do this, but he can still clearly do this.
See, I thought he just didn't give a shit about his... I mean, I do think they gave him that year off on purpose,
right,
to let him heal his injuries, because if you watch that G1... The video,
he was hurt,
the G129 video he did. I think it was called Vanishing Point. I mean, you could see him like barely able to get out of bed. But like, as far as he can clearly still do it when he really has to. And you know, maybe all that time fucking around with Yujiro let him heal up a bit.
Yeah, and that's for the best. I mean, because this was a hell of a match. Ospreay. So I'm not as sold on the presentation. I don't think Bay adds anything at all.
I think it's B, by the way.
B. Okay. I don't know. I don't watch any of it, so I don't know who she is. But I don't think she adds anything to the presentation really for him. I could be crazy. I just didn't really see that, and it's weird because I think there are some performers where it does genuinely add something. I just didn't think it did for him specifically. Though that could be due to some. That could be due to some own. I'm trying to think how to word it. Could be due to some of the drama surrounding Ospreay. So,
yeah, I mean, look, I think the B thing is fine. I mean, other than the fact that, I don't want to get into everything with him, and we've been through that a million times. All I will say is, I do think that it adds something there. I don't really think it detracts, at least, except for maybe
I don't think it detracts.
Maybe like Liam said, they screamed a little bit too much, but
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, but. So I guess my long form thought is I do think Ospreay looks like a star. I mean, I think he's going to be sticking around, obviously at the top of the card for quite a while.
I mean, he'll probably win the title.
I think so. I think it's this year. Yeah. And I think this was probably his biggest match in New Japan. He clearly performed. To me, this is probably my favorite Ospreay match in New Japan, even if I don't think it was his best match, because he did something different here. This wasn't every Ospreay match I've ever seen. He had a lot more violence. He was frenetic. He was when he was hitting things, it wasn't like going through the motions. It just felt more raw and intense, and it kind of translated with Okada too. It was a different kind of match from both of them, and I really enjoyed it as a mix-up from what they usually do. It wasn't the match I was expecting, but I'm definitely happier with what I got than what I was expecting. So, yeah, mixed feelings on this, but it was a great match.
What did you think of it, John?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, like Jeff said, I had completely different expectations for it. I really loved their G1 match. I super loved it. With like that finish and everything. It was in my top 10 New Japan matches for the year. And what I love about these two normally is that Ospreay makes current day Okada pick up the pace, but Okada kind of balances that Ospreay match style down. And I thought we were going to get just a long form version of that. And this wasn't that at all. And also, like Jeff said, you got to give Ospreay credit if you're one of the people who says he only has one kind of match, because on the biggest stage, this was not an Ospreay match. And I'll save all my thoughts about the Rainmaker thing for after you get to it, and I'll pretend we haven't already talked about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to give everybody a chance, I guess, to get through the match first before I go into that. So,
but one thing before I forget. The best way I could describe Will Ospreay's face in the money clip is when I saw it, I was like, that's a guy getting dragged out of a bar by a bouncer who's choking him too hard, which is the highest compliment I can give to someone selling a chokehold in a wrestling match. I think you nailed it. Yeah, I like the match a lot.
Anything to add here, Chris, about the match?
I liked it. I liked the Osprey video package before the match too. I think it just like really sealed the deal on what this new persona is. So I thought that was really good. I think the visual of the assassin even getting crossed out. So not even just removing Ariel from the moniker. So I think that we are seeing a new Osprey, and I think we saw that in the ring tonight. So a new, different style, maybe something that he can get some more longevity out of, stretch his career out, and really establish himself as a heavyweight. So I think this was really just the first step, which is why I don't think we saw him get the big win.
There you go. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about the Okada thing, because the part that I found really unsatisfying, and which I guess maybe took the rating down a little bit for me, but also just like I don't really like. People say this Money Club story was great, and I get why they did it from a standpoint of in real life, right? Not in kayfabe. I get why they did it from a standpoint of Okada had kind of gotten a little. I mean, the Rainmaker had been kicked out of like crazy lately, so it's here you reestablish it as a one-hit KO. I get that. Also, the Money Clip matches let Okada take some months off compared to his normal style and like have a much easier G1 and the summer and stuff. I let him do something different. I get that. I still do not think it was a good story. I still don't think they ever explained from a kayfabe standpoint why this character would do this. His only explanation for this was basically, I want to do something different. I want to challenge myself, and I just people don't like it too bad. He never explained why he just suddenly decided to stop using his deadly finisher that pinned everybody, and went up against. Like he got him to the top of the company, a million times over. It just doesn't. They never gave a satisfying explanation, and fine. He wants to use this Money Club to mess around with Yujiro, but it never made any sense that he would not just go back to the Rainmaker in the G1 Climax with a chance to meet him at the Tokyo Dome on the line when it was clear the Money Clip was not going to get the job done, and then to bust out the Rainmaker here in a non-title match. Yeah, it's at the Tokyo Dome, and I guess the idea is maybe that he's so mad at Ospreay, he decides to do it. It just felt like such a poor ending. Like I really thought they were going to have Ospreay win this, and then Okada's going to have to go back to the Rainmaker, to beat him in some big match, like even like a New Japan Cup final or a G1 match or a title match or something. It's just like he beats him in a non-title match with this Rainmaker. It makes the entire thing just feel so fucking cheap and just so pointless, and just feels pointless at the end of it. Like, why did we have this storyline where this man refused to use his own finisher for 6 months? Why should I feel sympathetic to that character, or why should I basically why should I like that character more for giving himself this disadvantage on purpose, and then just being like, I guess I'll go back to the Rainmaker to beat this guy in a match that isn't for anything. It just really did not work for me at all. If people here listening liked it, I'm happy for you. I mean, we can all like different things, but I just thought this storyline was one of the worst things they've done in this era. Just not good at all. And John, I know you, I guess, kind of agree with me, so I guess you can go ahead and.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to get in on this one. So the way that I look at it is, imagine you didn't watch the G1, you didn't watch this all happen, right? And someone had to tell you what took place, how this story played out. Essentially what they'd be telling you is Okada loses his title and then decides to make things more difficult for himself.
Not immediately, by the way. Like 5 months later after the COVID stoppage, he used the Rainmaker to beat Taichi in February.
Oh yeah, exactly. So
for
no apparent reason.
For no apparent, so that you can't even point to that timeline for it to make sense.
And then the big wraparound, the big finale of the arc is he just gets tired of doing that and decides to go back to doing what he did for the rest of his career. Someone just told me that without me. It was just an exercise in the guy showing you he could like form an arc out of anything, I guess, but it didn't mean anything. So when the Rainmaker happened at the end, I know that was supposed to be a big moment. Like I understood that, but I didn't give a shit. I just thought, I'm glad he's using that move again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, way to use your move. That's great, I guess. Cool. Instead of
Cool.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
and it certainly doesn't help that the move he replaced it with, the money clip, fucking sucked. It was like one of the worst submission finishes I've ever seen. So
Will's whole thing ends. Will, his whole story with Okada ends essentially with Okada getting bored of the game he was playing.
Yeah.
Real powerful stuff.
And he again is a baby face. So I don't know. Just there you go. Joel, really quick before that, Joel in the chat did say, "Devil's advocate, maybe Okada believed the money clip was a more effective move." It got results from the G1 after he lost like his first 3 matches though. So I don't know.
Is he having a match with the LP? Because that would imply he's brain dead. I mean, I think to me, when Okada does these kinds of stories, it really it feels like similar arcs to what they would do with Tanahashi, just not done as well. So I don't remember any of these kinds of dialogue. I don't remember any of this dialogue when Tanahashi got the cloverleaf over as a finish, because he did it well, and it was a fantastic spot in a match, and people popped out of their minds for it because it was well developed, and it made sense because it made sense in a practical context. People thought, well, Tanahashi, his knees are fucked, so it makes sense that he's not using the high fly flow as much now. So, and it was it was just done in a way that made sense that people could buy into and like him. But I don't think Okada is at that point. I think his depression arcs are kind of samey. Like, I know a lot of people were selling the differences between the money clip arc and Balloon Okada, and there were some differences aesthetically, but like, I don't know, it just feels samey. Okada always feels samey to me, but I don't buy into any of the arcs with him really that much, and the money clip was very much the same thing. I never bought that he was going to win at Wrestle Kingdom against some guy they're pushing as a new, as a world title contender with the money clip. I just didn't. But it does feel like a letdown to see he just busts out the Rainmaker now with seemingly no reason other than, okay, well, now I have to. And it's like, well, okay, I guess the G1 didn't matter much, but I agree with John's sentiment entirely on this.
What do you? Someone's going to jump in and I guess give the opposite viewpoint. I don't know.
Well, I'll jump in and just say that I liked the money clip story, segueing into the Rainmaker in this particular match. Like, if you just looked at it in this match, like, and a little bit of the background, he hasn't used the Rainmaker. Maybe if he had a better reason, like you guys are talking about, sure. But like in the match, every time you thought, like, at least for me, every time I thought he was going to just smack him with the Rainmaker, he would pull that arm back around his head and put the money clip on. I thought that like the crowd started to react negatively to it, like, oh, come on, man, like, get with it. And I thought that that was a cool reaction in a pretty quiet building. So I liked it in this vacuum, at least.
Well, I could also argue maybe, I don't know, the crowd not liking that your babyface is using a move that he's supposed to have over is not really. Was that really what they were going for? Maybe it was. I don't know. It was a very weird storyline, I guess. I guess, Liam, did you have anything to say about this before we move on?
Two very quick things. So one, I think it's amazing that the money clip can kill a clap crowd. Like, really amazing. And two, I think there's actually a very distinct difference between Okada's structure of his matches with Gato and outside of Gato, and like post the Gato betrayal. And I don't think he's actually figured out the structure to his matches yet. And I think that's really, you could tell that really obviously through like a very simple thing. He used to always do 3 drop kicks in his big matches. Now he throws like 6 or 7, and they don't really make much sense. And so I feel like there's a point in Okada where he's still trying to figure out what is like the formula or what is the way he wants to structure his matches. And I think the money clip was an experiment, which I think everyone agrees is a failed experiment in trying to figure that out.
All right, there you go. Let's move on. We got 4 or 5 more matches to cover, actually, but I think we can go a lot shorter on them than we did on those top 2. So, the 4th match, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Great Okan in 17-13 with the high fly flow. This match seemed divisive, which I don't really get because I just thought it was awesome. I mean, Oh, actually, well, I guess we can cover it after this match. There's a couple things during the intermission. I just mentioned them real quickly. We had a long ad for a new smartphone app where before this match, where Naito left Kidani with the family restaurant bill. That was really funny. So I enjoyed that. It was a nice little sop to the Naito fans, considering he's going to lose in the main event. That he got to stick Kidani with the bill. And we also got a very simple message that just said, New Japan hits TV in America and UK soon, it was reported that New Japan's going to have a new English language television partner. Dave Meltzer reported this earlier today. I believe I didn't listen to the English announcing, but they said something about purple, right? That's what they said, the color purple.
Yeah.
So that people are speculating BN Sports because they have a very purple logo. So maybe that could be it, which would be definitely a lower tier channel. I don't even think I get it, but any TV is better than no TV. So I mean, can't really complain. As far as this match, again, it seemed weirdly divisive. It's one of these things where when I'm watching these Ocon matches, I don't get what people don't like. Maybe someone here who hated the match could, if we do have somebody here, could tell me. I thought the stuff where they were grappling on the mat at the start was good. I thought where Ocon was beating on Tanahashi's leg for a while was good. He left him on the outside at one point and just waited for him to crawl back in the ring with his hands behind his back. It was awesome. It made him kiss his boot when he could crawl back in. It was great. And then Tanahashi did a nice little comeback before Ocon caught him in midair and just slammed him face down almost from a backdrop position, which looked great. I just think he's gotten so good already at working as the dominant heel in these matches. And he got a lot of offense in this match. We had a big elbow exchange before Ocon. He hit the screaming axe kick to put him down. Tanahashi came back with this big sling blade for a 2 count after dodging some more Ocon offense, and I thought Ocon took a great bump for the sling blade. But Ocon then came back by getting his claw on Tanahashi while he's on the top rope, gave him another big face buster. But yeah, just the finishing stretch, Ocon had teased using a chair. Tanahashi took the chair and threw it down instead of using it, which was, I guess, playing off their build, where Ocon had really beaten the crap out of him with a chair. Gave him a dragon suplex hold for a 2 count, and then hit 2 straight high fly flows, one to the back and one to the front, and that got the pin. Not surprised really they gave Tanahashi the win. I thought they might give Ocon the win, but they usually do to build up to that a little more with these newer guys. But I mean, still obviously a big deal that he was even wrestling Tanahashi here. But yeah, I thought this was awesome. I went 4 stars on this. I liked it better than Okada and Ospreay, very slightly. But I really enjoyed this match. I thought Ocon again looked great, looked like a star. Don't know what the Ocon haters even see at this point. And I thought this was really great match. Probably second to the main event for my favorite match of the show. Chris, what did you think of Ocon and Tanahashi?
I'm a big fan of Ocon. I think that the thing people don't see with great Ocon is, I think it's literally in his name. If you call him Tomoyuki Oka, and he dresses like he does, and he comes out and he's just a big character, I think the criticism would be at least reduced. I think people don't want, kind of outlandish characters in their pro wrestling anymore. So that's my opinion on that. But I think Oka's a fantastic wrestler. I think he's really coming along. He's figured out a lot. He's workshopped a lot of stuff on that World Tag League tour. So if all you saw from him was, I guess, power struggle to now, I think you would recognize some pretty great growth. And Tanahashi coming back, not nearly a similar story to Okada and the Rainmaker, but Tanahashi hasn't even tried a high fly flow since October. So, similar in a way. But I think we are seeing the cycle down of Tanahashi finally, and maybe you heat him back up for one more run, especially if Ibushi's the champion, right? So Ibushi's the guy that finally, I guess, puts Tanahashi as a main eventer to rest. Maybe that's the case, but this win could go a long way towards Tanahashi having a better 2021, or at least staying in that mix.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here, because it is obviously it did feel like he was getting down cycled pretty hard during 2020. So, I mean, would they do Tanahashi Ibushi again for the titles? I could see it. I mean,
this year was the first year since 2002 that Tanahashi had a a singles win-loss record under 500. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty extreme cycle down.
I mean, to me, it all started at the 2019 G1 where he goes 4-5, and that like is to me the beginning of the arc for him. Where then he goes on to Wrestle Kingdom and loses to Jericho, and just kind of goes from there. But we'll see if he does rebound a bit here. I mean, I could see him doing Tanahashi Ibushi. I mean, that seems like a match they would do.
Yeah, and as you know, Tanahashi's maybe last big shot.
Yeah.
I could see it. It'd probably be pretty good too.
Yeah. John, what did you think of Tanahashi and Okan?
Oh, I thought it ruled, but I do get why people wouldn't like it. To me, like, what's succeeding about Okan isn't entirely something you can like chalk up with star ratings in a bell to bell sense. I think like this character he's putting out there is real different and fresh. I said earlier he feels like an old like territory villain to me, which I could see some people hearing that and going, I absolutely do not want that. But I think it rules. I think like the spot where he rolls back in the ring while Tana's recovering on the outside, he's just standing there with his arms behind his back. It's like this real cool, powerful image. I think this whole match was more like a big, like, fun, cool moment than a conventional great match. From Tana's like big entrance to that whole aura that Okan puts out there. I think he's killer, but I mean, I don't know. I'd give this like a 3.5, but I had like 4 stars of fun, man. I don't know. it's I think Okan rules, but I understand if people aren't into it, but to me, it's like if you can get down with some of the booking they're doing lately, I don't see why if you can accept them breaking out of conventional things in their booking, I don't see why you couldn't get down with this dude, because this dude rules. And this match, yeah, I had a blast. It's probably like my 4th favorite of the night, but I liked it a lot. I had a good time.
There you go. What did you think of this match, Jeff?
I have a few thoughts coming out of it. So, first off, I do in fact think I'd enjoy Okan a lot more if he was just a straight character. I think his shoot style stuff rules. Like, his grappling is great. I enjoyed the beginning of the match quite a lot. When he gets into the screaming and jumping around shit, I check out. It's not my thing. If I need 80s style territory heels, I'll just go watch 80s style territory heels. It's not my gig. I think there's something there. In regards to Tanahashi beating him and what that means for maybe moving Tanahashi back up the card, I don't think it's as much that as I think people have overestimated where Okan is on the card right now. Maybe they do have these future ace aspirations for the guy. That seems to be the vibe I keep hearing about, but he's not there now. He's just not. That's not what they're pushing him as. He went 4-5 in the tag league, and while they didn't just outright pin them, he didn't win a lot of matches either. I mean, the Tanahashi destruction thing was a good angle, but he lost to Okada. He just got pinned clean as a sheet here, so he's not even the number one guy in his own faction.
Jay White got pinned clean as a sheet on his first match against Tanahashi at the Dome too.
Sure.
And then Jay White went 6-3 in the G1.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I still don't think, but he's not even the top guy in his own faction. Let's make that transparently clear. They're not pushing.
Neither was Jay White when he came back.
I don't think they're pushing him as this top level guy. I just don't get that vibe from how he's
okay. I could not disagree more with that take. I think he's clearly being pushed as a
he just lost to a guy who went like 4-5 or 3-6 in the G1.
Yeah,
he's the guy doing the post-match promos when Will Ospreay's standing in the ring and Cork and Hall.
I get it. He's getting promo time, and he's going to be built to that, but I don't think he's there now. I don't think it's a next year thing. I think this is a 3-year down the road thing. And right now, he's the 2nd or 3rd most important guy in his own faction.
Definitely not the 3rd most important guy in his faction. There's no way.
In terms of booking priority. I think if they do the G1 next year, I think he'll have a lower record than Cobb. Or it'll be the same.
No way. 0 chance.
Okay.
0 chance.
Cobb will go 4-5 in the G1 in perpetuity.
I think Okan probably goes 05 next G1. I don't think he's doing much better than that.
He goes 5-4 minimum, probably 6-3, or he gets some big win at the end.
I don't see 6 and 3.
Okay.
This could just be me. I don't see 6 and 3.
Or he has like some record like Ospreay did in his first G1, but then beats Tanahashi at the end or some other.
I could absolutely see that, but I don't see him going above that.
Okay.
I see like 4 and 5.
Okay.
And he yells his promo without a microphone, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He's cool. I'm not saying there's not aspects of his character that are cool. I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't think he's being pushed at the level people think he's being pushed at yet. He will be. They clearly have plans for him. That's not my point. I don't think he's getting a Jay White style mega push the minute he touches the ring, though. I don't think that's happening. And it didn't take this long for Jay White to get that push, by the way. Jay White touched the ring and had the U.S. belt in a month. Okan's been out for I think, has he been out for about 6 months? 5 months? How long has he been out?
3 months.
October?
3? Okay. Time doesn't feel right anymore. But he's been out there. He lost to Okada immediately, then he lost to Tanahashi. I don't know. Like, what's his new thing he's going to be doing next month or the month after? I don't think he's going to get any real push till G1 at best. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's this immediate thing. So
yeah.
I don't think this is used to move Tanahashi up the card. I just think it's roughly where they're both at right now.
Okay. So let me... There's something I wanted to say before I lose track. So Joel asked in the chat, who is better, Okan tonight or Jay in Wrestle Kingdom 12? I think Okan is better than Jay. Like, Jay looked really nervous at that Wrestle Kingdom 12 show, and I don't think Jay looked nervous. I don't think Okan looked nervous at all. I mean, Jay would more than make up for it in, his years to come. But so it's the first impression is not always going to be the biggest deal. But I mean, it was more comparable probably to Okan's performance against Okada at Power Struggle, which was his real first performance. Whereas this Okan now has had a few months already to get the king set, which Jay did not have. But yeah, I definitely thought Okan looked way better here than Jay did.
It feels weird to think he's only been around 3 months. Anyway,
yeah.
But I think. Again, I don't think it's a matter of is he better than Jay White was. I just think it's a matter of where they're positioned relatively on the card in that time.
All right, we'll see. That's all I can say. Liam, jump in here because you haven't gotten a chance to talk, and I got to run in and get my charger. So talk for a while.
Okay, so a few things about this match. Let's start with Tanahashi. Tanahashi in this match is inconsequential. He did some stuff. I don't know I wouldn't say he took a night off, but he was like very, very relaxed. So, like no big bumps. Really took it easy this night. And I think that's fine for Tanahashi. I think Tanahashi... I'd actually disagree with Chris's take earlier where this is like a potential Tanahashi elevation. I don't think that's happening ever again. Maybe if they split the titles and they do like an Intercontinental challenge, I could see that. But I think Tanahashi's days of challenging for the IWGP title, those are done. Like, the juice is done. Like, that story's over. But this is not like a Tanahashi... This is not the story of Tanahashi, and honestly, like, the match quality here doesn't really matter that much. I don't think. It doesn't matter if this is a good match, it doesn't matter if it's a great match. Like, the purpose of this match is to introduce Okan to a massive audience, the Tokyo Dome Stadium audience, the audience who only watches, like, the really big shows, and get across who this guy is, get across his character, get across what he wants to do, and, like, where he's going forward. I think this match is similar to the Jay White match in 2018, but I also agree with Jeff in that, like, I don't think Okan is getting the exact rocket push that Jay was going to get. I do think he's slotted above Cobb at the moment, but I don't think we'll see that. I don't know when we'll see that manifest in a title challenge or a title win. But I think in terms of like Okan's performance on this night, I thought he was outstanding. I thought like his physical presence, like the way he goes about wrestling is so interesting to me. And there was a comment by the English commentary team, which basically said that Okan, unlike most people who participate in this in New Japan, wasn't a wrestling fan growing up. He was like an amateur wrestler who got poached by Kadani. And I think that's a really interesting point because I think you can see that a lot in the way he moves, in the way in which he transitions, and the way in which he goes about wrestling.
I'm back, by the way, if you're not.
Hey, no. I was just talking about how I think like Okan's like not wrestling fan background actually is really, really interesting, and how that lends really well to his physical presence. I think Okan will be the star coming out of Empire. I don't think he's the top guy there yet, but I do think he's going to take this unit at some point in the next 2 to 3 years.
Alrighty.
I think that's very clear.
Can I clarify real quick that I'm not insinuating that Okan won't be the star in like 3 years?
Yeah.
That is not my take.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's move on though, because I want to get through the rest of these matches, and I'm suddenly very tired. So, let's get to match number 3. Kenta beating Satoshi Kojima in 14-12 at the Go to Sleep. Kenta successfully defended the U.S. Heavyweight Right to Challenge contract for what felt like about the 20th time. But there was maybe some progress there because Jon Moxley made an appearance and he taped promo from their California studio, I believe, from the ring over there. And he just basically said, I'm coming for the winner of this Tokyo Dome contract match, Pretty cool moment, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of a surprise, so cool little moment. I think this was really good. I mean, really just like a really fun match. It was a little dull at the start, maybe, but everything after Kojima hit this really nasty-looking apron DDT was really good. Just from there, they never looked back and really had a quite good match. I went 3 3/4. Couldn't quite pull the trigger on 4 because, like I said, everything before that was a little bit dull. So I guess quick thoughts on this one. Liam, what did you think of Kenta and Kojima?
I thought this ruled. I thought this is really, really good. The one thing I have coming out of this is they should really push Kojima again. Like, he is still really good. And he's still, I think he's got still more upside than, obviously Makabe. I feel like there's more you could do with him than Ishii. I'd push him over Tana, honestly, at this point. He still can go out there and really deliver in this spot. And I think Kenta now is I think someone referred to him as an angle wrestler now. And I think, yeah, kind of. He's not 2005 or 2009 Kenta anymore. But I still feel like he really rose to the occasion here and, delivered a really good, solid, hard-hitting match that got really stiff at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's never gonna be a 5-star match guy anymore. But, I thought his match with Naito from February was awesome. Had a couple really good matches in the G1. I mean, I definitely don't think he's, spent or anything. Even though he's not, like you said, not what he was in 05 or 09. But who of us are? Who of us are?
And they should put Kojima back in the G1, but they won't, because they're cowards.
Jeff, any quick thoughts here on Kenta and Kojima?
I disagree with him being with the Tanahashi take, but I do agree with pretty much everyone else you mentioned. I would push Kojima at their level at least, or above. He was great here. I do get a little sad seeing this version of Kenta. I know he's good for angles. I know his promos are good, and he's still an enjoyable character. But I haven't really enjoyed his in-ring as much outside of a few spots here and there. The Naito match being probably the biggest example of that. The match itself was pretty good, though. I mean, I went 3.5. The closing stretch was way funner than the rest of it for me, though. It got a little slow at times. I don't know. I don't have much for it, to be honest.
Okay.
It stood out the least of all the matches on the show.
John, what do you think?
This was a lot of fun. I thought this was a real just straight up no frills match. But in the beginning, when it was slow, it didn't bother me at all because the way the crowd was reacting to Kojima was real smile fuel. It was real nice to watch them react to everything he did. And I think you lose that charm real quick if you put Kojima back in the mix like a regular competitor. I mean, he could still go, but I think the joy you get out of surprises like this is worth its weight in gold. I think Kenta is getting smarter and smarter about his limitations and really knows what to do in spots like this. I thought this match did everything it was supposed to do. It was a lot of fun. Cool wrestling.
What did you think, Chris?
Yeah, fun to see Kojima get a big spot. Cool to see the crowd react the way they did. I think Kenta is the version of Kenta. He's the best version he can be right now, which I think is all you can ask of someone as they advance in age like that. And I think that's actually something that most New Japan wrestlers have a lot of success with. So it's probably good that Kenta ended up where he did. And I wish whoever's running things in California would have ironed the lion mark flag that was behind Jon Moxley because it looked like shit.
Match number 2, the Dangerous Tekkers fucking lose to Girls of Destiny. How is this possible? Tonga Loa pins Taichi in 1918 with the ape shit. GOD become the 88th champions. They set the new record with their 7th IWGP reign. They break the tie between them and Tenkozy. This match, I mean, I just was joking, I guess, about not liking GOD, but this match was really, really good. It started out, a little boring. I mean, GOD's heat period was very uninteresting, but man, everything after that was awesome. I mean, this really cool double team power bomb with Tama tossing Zack into Tonga. Taichi has to make the last minute save. He took a Tongan twist for his troubles, and then Zack countered the super power bomb into a top rope guillotine. He starts yelling at Taichi to get his ass over there because he can't do it on his own. And it's the fucking Tokyo Dome, and they gave Tonga this double team power bomb suplex, and Taichi went wild like he's fucking Hulk Hogan in the Tokyo Dome with these running axe bombers, screaming axe bomber for each one, because just like Hogan used to do. And there's just a really really cool finishing sequence. But then Tama Tonga gets the Iron Fingers from Hell, just like in the World Tag League match, nails Taichi with them, and leaves Tonga hanging the apeshit for the pin. I went 3 3/4. Couldn't again quite pull the trigger on 4 because the GOD heat period was really boring, and I didn't, the finish just fucking pissed me off, but, in kind of a Marcus way, I guess, because I love the Techers and don't really have any use for GOD. I mean, I will admit them posing, or climbing up on the dugout and posing under the spotlight with their belts was a pretty cool visual, but I don't know. My immediate worry coming out of this was that they're building to a Taichi-Zack split, both with Zack being like weirdly aggressive about Taichi coming over to the corner, and then you could say this was basically Taichi's fault for bringing these Iron Fingers out again and having them used by Tama Tonga on them, just like he just like they did in the World Tag League. So I did worry a little bit. Plus, there's all these rumblings about upcoming like faction shifting or something. So who knows? But I've apparently after the show, Zack was like swearing revenge on God and said, the 7th reign won't last that long. So it looks like they're already building to a return match. So maybe that's wrong. Maybe the Dangerous Techers will just win the belts back in a month. Maybe God will get to see what it's like to win the Dome and lose the belts right back to the champions you beat them from, instead of how they do that to everybody. So, it'll be kind of funny and poetic justice, I guess. Chris, what do you think of this tag team championship affair?
I think it was really fun. I think it over-delivered on my expectations because I never expect much from God. And I'll watch Zack Sabre Jr. in an empty building just screaming things at Taichi for the rest of my life. That was the best spot I could ever think of in a match with these guys. But yeah, I liked it. I wish they would have broken the other streak, which would have been the tag titles not changing hands at Wrestle Kingdom, because I really like Dangerous Techers as a team. But maybe if this checks off the last box for God, maybe they'll figure out something else to do with those guys.
Because this is like their last accomplishment.
Like what else? What's left? Yeah. I don't know.
John, any thoughts on this tag team title match?
Yeah, I thought this match ruled. I'm always pulling for God because I feel like there's so many contexts where that team works, but it's just unfortunate that the New Japan tag division is not one of them. And funny that them winning just kind of feels like all the hope for the tag division went away, even though this match was good. But yeah, I thought it was great. I'd heard everyone talking about how Tonga Loa suddenly got good, but I didn't watch Tag League, so this was my first exposure to the brand new Tonga Loa 2.0, and he was cool. But yeah, everything rolled except for there was like one stretch where Tama and Tonga were just taking turns choking people on the ground. That was a drag. I thought Zack was amazing in this match. 100% the star of the match. And I don't know. Good luck to the New Japan Tag Division. If Dangerous Techers breaks up, wouldn't that be amazing if after the Golden Aces and Dangerous Techers feud that made everyone go, the New Japan Tag Division matters again, both teams are broken up within a couple of months? It's beautiful. Gato's a genius. Really, just a fucking madman. Yeah, the 3 3/4.
What do you think here, Jeff?
I think typically, I prefer other Tekkers matches over this. This just kind of it was a good match, but the finish really sucked. I'm still convinced Gato doesn't put much time into the tag division. I know at the beginning of the year everyone got excited because it was the Golden Aces showing up, but I think that was really more. It was using the tag belts to further a single storyline. I don't think it had anything to do with any renewed focus on the tag belts, and I just think we kind of have to accept that these belts are going to be passed around between whoever they can slop together to sell a few tickets, and that's really unfortunate because a well-booked tag division is something I think New Japan could do pretty easily. But I don't know, it's just kind of made me sad.
Liam, what do you think of this one?
I'll give you 3 points, 3 quick points on this one. One, I thought the match was really good. Joel asked in the chat if this was the best GOD match ever, and because GOD are generally mediocre, I'm going to say yes without doing any research. Two, if you loved Zach's performance this match, and a few people in the Super J-Cast Discord were like, Zach's a really good babyface, you should watch his stuff in Noah with Yoshinari Ogawa in the junior tag division. That stuff is awesome and is very similar in terms of how this match was structured and how that team works. And three, if Gato breaks up Dangerous Tekkers, I will fly to Japan, sit in quarantine for 2 weeks, and then I will find Gato and kick him in the dick.
We'll vouch for the Ogawa stuff it owns.
Okay, so let's get to the opener of the pay-per-view, or of the show, before the other than the dark match, which was the Hiromu Takahashi defeating El Phantasmo in 17:46 with the Hurricanrana. So Hiromu moves on to challenge to challenge Taiji Ishimori. I am tired for the IWGP Junior title on January 5th. Okay, this was Armageddon on the Voices of Wrestling Slack. El Phantasmo just made everybody melt down. All I'm going to say is ELP's new theme song fucking sucks. I don't find him entertaining as a wrestler. For some reason, this really upsets people, as I learned tonight, that people really, really, really do not want to hear that ELP sucks. And I'm sorry. I just, I find his heel work to be just incredibly boring. And that's what I did here. I mean, look, the stuff where he was doing flips was cool. And Hiromu is Hiromu, so it's always going to be a certain level of great. But, a certain level, there's a certain baseline here. But this is I thought Hiromu had fucking 7 or 8 matches, maybe all 9 of his Best of Super Junior block matches were better than this. I mean, the only one to even be comparable, I guess, is the Bushi match that I didn't like that much. But I still think that was probably better than this. So probably all 9. I mean, just I don't know, at one point, to me, what sums up ELP and why I can't stand him, he trolls the crowd by doing a bad impression of the Kenny Terminator thing. They barely even bother to clap along anyway, and then he just kind of does the spaz dance he used to do instead of diving. It's just it's just so I mean, I get it's supposed to be cringe, you're not supposed to like him, but that doesn't mean I have to say that I want to see him on my fucking screen. Okay, you could use that argument against anybody. That's the shit that WWE fans use to justify Baron Corbin. So I don't want to hear that. I get that I'm not supposed to like him, but I don't like him. I don't want to watch him, and I don't find him entertaining. So that's all I can say about him. I went 3.25 stars. I'm glad Hiromu won. He won with a roll up, so I assume it's because just to keep ELP strong, it'll probably get the title or something at some point. But as was apparently the plan for this year before COVID. But God, do I not want to watch it. So, I don't know. Who did I start with last time? I lost track. Nobody remembers who I started with last time?
I think Chris was first last time.
Okay, so Liam, do you want to say something about ELP versus Hiromu?
Yeah, I'll say 2 quick things. One, I disagree with the theme song. I think this theme song is a massive improvement from the last one. It's good, I guess, whatever. This match was a fucking mess. It started really good, and then it hit the 7 or 8 minute mark, and then there was an ELP control segment in the ring, and it just really fell off a cliff at that point. I don't think they ever really got it back on the train.
That was like the most dead this crowd was all night. Like people think you can't tell when a clap crowd is dead. Oh, you can tell, and it was during this match.
Yeah, and like I don't know how it happened, or like if they just didn't communicate, or like it went from being like a really well built, like solid built, like high spot fest at the front to just like kind of dissolving into ELP's AJ Styles tribute and missed spots, and it's just frustrating, really, really frustrating. And they're going to run it again, and it'll be a main event at some show. They'll go 30 minutes, and it'll be. I'm not optimistic about it. I do agree with your take that this is worse than every Best of Super Junior match Hiromu had last year.
Yeah. Which I think I said this year. I always forget we're now in a new year. So.
Yeah, just I thought it was okay, but it was just really, really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I went 3 1/4 because the high spots were cool, but like the stuff in between was like, ugh. Jeff, as a fellow. Since we didn't like ELP, it means we hate all white people. So please.
I hate whites. ELP is a great example of why. So, I think ELP's offense looks like shit. I think it's incredibly choreographed and makes everyone he's in the ring with look like a total fucking buffoon. I don't know why Hiromu laid on the ropes and balanced himself for 12 minutes, waiting for ELP to taunt and do his gimmick before doing a fucking back bump on him. I don't know. It looked like shit. I think the rope walk for an hour looked like shit. I know one of the people in the chat mentioned that, oh, well, ELP's gimmick is that he's a dumbass, and that's fine, but I don't know why he's on a Wrestle Kingdom card.
Doesn't mean I want to watch him be a dumbass. I mean,
I don't see that as a top of the card gimmick.
I get that he's being a dumbass on purpose. I can just not want to watch the dumbass.
Well, and that's not a top of the card gimmick.
Well,
like,
I mean, to be fair, he's in the opener here.
Well, but I mean, he's not a top of the division gimmick even. I mean, why the fuck is that being pushed in a division that includes Hiromu?
I don't know, man. I've heard people say that the Japanese fans like it, and I don't doubt that that's true for some of them. Probably, I mean, it seems like the kind of thing.
Or they sounded like they enjoyed it.
They didn't sound like they enjoyed this match.
I heard a lot of. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think the heel shtick is grossly overstated. I don't think it's nearly as good as people make it out to be. I don't think he's nearly as good as people make him out to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have no fucking time for ELP.
This I think is the line that pissed people off, so I'll just give it again. It's baby's first heel. That's ELP in a nutshell to me.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Anyway, back to hating whites.
John, I think you like this a lot more than I did, so go ahead and tell me why ELP is great.
I don't. We don't have enough time in the day for me to tell you how. Stop making me sound like I love ELP. I don't want the takeaway from this to be like I'm the president of the Headbanger Club, but I do think ELP is pretty tight, and the reason ELP is at the top of a division that includes Hiromu is because Shingo and Will and Dragon Lee are gone, and he already got through Desperado, and there really is no one left in this fucking division. He's got Ishimori tomorrow. It's the opener of day one. It's a different kind of match than he's going to have tomorrow. You're going to get your conventional Hiromu match tomorrow.
Well, can I just say what you said about him having no one left in the division? That's why when these people say he's not moving up to heavyweight, I think they're like out of their minds. Like, what is left for him to do in the junior division?
Exactly. I mean, and it's one thing I don't know where you go from here. You need to hope Show comes through maybe.
I want to throw this in here too. By the way, Joel Abraham in the chat says from I guess Super J-Cast host, I don't get the double standard of people shit on Evil but say ELP is such a great heel. Yeah, I don't get it either, Joel. And people...
I got it. I'll tell you exactly why.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly why. First off, I'm not saying that ELP is a better wrestler than Evil.
Good, because
would not say that in a million fucking years. I like Evil. I just think the shit Evil's doing now is a nightmare from hell for the viewer, and this is like a big wormhole we can get into at 8:30 in the morning, and I don't think any of us want to.
John, why don't you just admit you're a cop who likes whites? I don't.
Goodness me, I liked whites a lot more before I was on this podcast. Yeah. No, but here's the thing. ELP just opened this show. He's done nothing of very high stakes. His biggest match was against Rocky Romero. People hate Evil, because he's in the
We're always driving to dance lessons. So we signed up for Know Your Drive. We save money and get closer to her dancing dreams.
The daring young man on the flying trapeze.
Or maybe her singing dreams. Sign up for Know Your Drive and save up to 20%. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
Products not available in every state. Discount terms apply. Visit amfam.com/knowyourdrive for details. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Today is nonstop. And suddenly, your checking account is overdrawn. But what if we gave you more time on that one? At Huntington, if you accidentally overdraw your account by $50 or less, we've put a $50 safety zone in place, so you won't be charged an overdraft fee. It's one more way we're looking out for you, so you can have time for what matters most. Huntington, welcome. $50 safety zone does not apply to returned items. Your account will be automatically closed if it remains negative for 60 days. Learn more at huntington.com/safety zone.
He's in the title, and he's main eventing shows where you have to watch Red Shoes sell more than any other wrestlers do. His ELP stuff is low stakes. He's a fun, goofy heel. It's fun to watch him act like a dipshit and that have Hiromu drop kick him into fucking 3 backflips. And you're going to get your real Hiromu match tomorrow. I think this is just harmless fun. I think ELP is better than he's given credit for. I think he gets the reactions he gets because he leans into being an obnoxious dipshit more than most people do. And if you hate it, you don't got to worry because, again, the biggest position he's ever been in was losing to Rocky Romero.
Well, but he's going to be running wild in this 2 division all year, I think. So as long as he can get in the country.
I mean, that could be true, but again, what are you gonna put the title? I mean, once Hiromu's out of here, what are you gonna do? Put the title on Despy or Ishimori or ELP? Who cares?
Please, the first two.
I would rather watch Hiromu fight Ryu Lee 68 times till the fucking
Of course,
sun.
we all would. Of course, we all would. And water's wet, but you know what I mean. But like, fucking Ryu Lee is not. I mean, when Ryu Lee comes back, I like him more than all these guys.
Okay, here's what I will say, and I totally get your argument about Evil being in the main events and ELP not being in the main events, but the alternate suggestion is like people will defend, and I think what Joel was going for here is people will defend ELP by saying, well, you know, you're not supposed to like him, you're not supposed to react, you're not supposed to like, you're supposed to have this reaction to him, you're supposed to think he's bad, you're not supposed to like, but like, why? That's a defense they trot out for heels. It's basically the whole point is it's if you as a person like ELP, you will trot out that defense for ELP that you're not supposed to like him. But then Evil, who you're also not supposed to like, never gets that defense because somehow Evil and Dick Togo is some crime, too big of a crime against work rate or whatever the fuck. It's just a total.
But that's the thing.
It's just a total double standard.
I don't think they do the same thing at all. People always loved Evil. And they still want to love Evil. The problem they have with Evil is that he fucked all his matches up and he made them unbearable to watch. And by the time he had a good one, the Power Struggle one was fun in the way like a 90s WWF match was. It was a blast. But I couldn't enjoy it because I was already so fucking mad. They made me watch that match so many times. And it was a nightmare. And they had the same match over and over and over. And ELP, even if you hate him, who gives a shit? Go get a drink and his match is over.
I understand.
What you're saying is what Evil did wrong was he had good matches first and then he fucked up, whereas ELP.
No, I'm saying Evil fucked up over the course of 40-minute matches on the top of cards over and over all year.
Right, I get that argument, but all I'm saying is if you're gonna say that a heel, getting heat is a defensible, a reason to defend them. I mean, just like you should be more consistent. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't think it's consistent to say, because clearly the idea with Evil is you're not supposed to like him either, and you're supposed to want him to lose, just like with ELP. So I just don't really get why it's a defense of one of them and not a defense of the other. But
I just think it's so different. I mean, because that's like it's like comparing ELP and Baron Corbin. I mean, even if you hate them both, you can't say they're doing the same thing. It's a matter of one act being different than another. I mean, that's why I'm not coming to you and saying he's succeeding because you don't like him.
Well, a lot of people fucking say that, so I don't know.
I'll grant you that can be obnoxious. I do think it's valid sometimes, but that can be an obnoxious argument.
Chris, I guess jump in here for we wrap things up here. What did you think of this ELP and Hiromu match?
I have no strong feelings about it because It seemed like the outcome was obvious. So when that completely takes me out of everything. So to be honest, I was like setting up all my tweet threads during this match because I knew Hiromu was going to win.
There you go. Okay, so I am going to make an executive decision that we barely have to talk about the Rambo. I mean, it existed. I mean, we're almost an hour and a half here on one show. So I'm just going to say there were 21 guys instead of 22 guys for some reason. It was funny when
Kojima.
It was funny that Toru Yano got to be in the Final Four without actually doing anything. So it was a funny ending. I thought the Rambo was good. Does anybody really have strong thoughts on the Rambo? They have to share. Anyone want to jump in?
Yes.
Okay, please, go ahead.
This was either the best Rambo ever or the worst Rambo ever. I'm not really sure, and it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Kojima was number 22, and he had to go fight Kenta.
Is everybody...
22?
I thought this match happened last month.
There you go. Is anybody not coming on tomorrow? Does anybody have to do plugs before... I don't know. Is anyone not coming on tomorrow? Easy question.
I'll be here.
I'll come back tomorrow to apologize for all the mean stuff I said about Evil today.
All right. If anybody's coming on tomorrow, they don't got to do no plugs. So we can wrap it up. Thank you to the people on the live stream listening. We ended up with way more people jumping on here at fucking early in the morning Eastern time. So I appreciate that. If you're listening to this back as a free show, at the end of the week, then you'll hear just a little musical interlude, and then we'll be back with Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2 in a second. If you are listening as a patron, you just look for the link tomorrow, and we'll be right back here again. The moment Night 2 goes off the air, we'll be doing this all over again. So jump in and come back with us. But yes, thank you very much for listening and for subscribing if you are a patron. And we'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you in a second if you're listening back as a full podcast. Bye-bye.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Through the magic of audio here, you're listening to the second half of this Wrestling Omakase Wrestle Kingdom 15 review, obviously for Night 2 here. Of course, we're also streaming live for the patrons, so the patrons got to hear this, many days beforehand. I want to thank them, as always, for their support. It's something I do not take for granted, and I'm, very pleased with our patron number heading into January here. So thank you if you're a new patron who signed up for this. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your content. I mean, plenty of stuff coming up after Wrestle Kingdom 2 with a Tokyo Dome series is going to continue, which should be fun. But what we're here to talk about here is Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2. Another really, really good show. I mean, the big headline to me coming out of this, I don't really see how it's anything other than New Japan is still good, basically, should be the headline coming out of this, because this was especially given my expectations going in, for what a pandemic era, COVID era Tokyo Dome would look like. I mean, these two shows blew me away. I mean, I just don't think there's really anything negative to take away from it at all. I thought they did an excellent job. I thought, there were tons of great matches. I mean, there were so many awesome matches in these two shows that I think you could, reasonably find 5 or 6 different people who watch them all, and they'll have a very different top 5. And again, it's only 12 matches, unless somebody has the Rambo in there. Just a really, really, they did an outstanding job here. The atmosphere was nowhere near as bad as I feared it would be. So, I mean, that to me is the big headline here at the end of Night 2. Just 2 outstanding shows. New Japan really flexing their muscles and showing that they're still the best in-ring wrestling promotion in the world, despite some very notable doubters at the end of last year. Jeff, I'll start with you. Would you say the Dynasty is in fact not dead?
Yeah, I would say the Dynasty is still alive and thriving. While I had issues with the booking this year, I never thought the Dynasty was going down. That's a bit of a stretch. Boy, howdy, did some people just take a fucking L. Just a humongous L. Yeah, this was a fantastic series of shows.
Chris, I'll get a second opinion. Is the Dynasty dead? Chris? Oh, do we lose Chris? Okay. Liam, second opinion.
Hey, wait, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Chris, go ahead. Is the Dynasty dead, sir?
Is the Dynasty dead? I don't have to answer that. The world knows my opinion. The Dynasty is not dead. New Japan is great. Pro wrestling is awesome. That may be the extent of my enthusiasm, as I'm very tired, but no, the Dynasty lives.
There you go. Liam, can we make a 3 for 3 on the Dynasty being not dead?
John, so my leg is broken in 8 places, and my heart is broken in more, so I'm unfortunately going to have to disagree and say, as of the main event, the Dynasty is dead.
There you go. All right, so we're a marketplace of ideas here on Wrestling Omakase, so it's fine.
Naito probably broke his leg and his heart. So.
There you go. John, what do you can either tie it up here or... Actually, no, it'd still be 3-2, so your vote was meaningless. Sir, was the Dynasty dead?
Well, I'm used to the feeling of my vote being meaningless. No, I mean, I never thought New Japan fell into the toilet. I just thought they had a couple bad title matches, which I'm realizing now to the listener, they'll have just heard my rant about 6 minutes ago. So I want them to know that I took a nap and I'm doing much better now.
Well, yeah, because the last, if people listening back to the free episode, the last thing they'll hear is you yelling about ELP or whatever at Evil. So,
I don't even think I ended up talking about ELP.
Yeah, it's more about Evil. Yeah.
So today I'm going to use Evil's match to talk about ELP.
There you go.
I think I get concerns about the direction and the top of the card changing, but I think today's show especially, even more so than last night's, put New Japan in a really good place. I think there's a lot to be excited about. No, the Dynasty is not dead.
There you go. Let's get into the review here, since I am also very tired. The main event, Kota Ibushi defeating Jay White in 48:05 with the Kamigoe, becomes the new longest match in Tokyo Dome history. It breaks the record set by Kazuchika Okada and the Gamer, Kenny Omega. So Ibushi retains the title, makes his first successful defense of both belts. Obviously, that's the headline. So this match, I think, I have seen opinions on this all over the board. I mean, the Voice Wrestling Slack, there were people who had this 5 stars match of the year. I mean, this is the best, one of the best matches I ever saw. There were people who said it was awesome, but not quite at that level, and I think that's where I landed. My star rating here would be 4.25. I mean, my problem with it was very similar to Okada Ibushi last year, where it just felt like the first 15 minutes dragged a lot for me, and 10 minutes in I actively did not like it, and any match where I can have a memory of just not actively liking a match, it's never going to be a match I'm going to be able to go 5 stars on. But everything after the 15-minute mark, especially everything after the 20-minute mark, really picked up. The story they told was great. Jay White, working over this guy who, just really just working over this guy who came in, tired from the previous night and, dominated for a while, was good. If the early part of it could have been a little more interesting, maybe, just his heat segment just did not grab me at all. But, the other little minor complaint I would have with it too is they did a lot of work to set up a leg submission, which I guess, does he still call it the TTO? You would know, Liam. Is it
It changes depending on the opponent.
Okay, so I guess it would be the ITO here.
Yes.
Which, that stuff was good, but also, he did the few Dragon Screws to set it up, and then it felt like we never really went back to that again, before they went back to it towards the end. It just felt a little I don't know, felt like it was missing something, either more leg work or more leg selling at least from Kota to make that kind of stand out to me a little more. But, these are like picking out flaws of the match I thought were awesome. And I'm sure there's a couple people here that are going to say it's even more awesome than I thought. So that's where I'm at. I have 4.25. It's like I ranked these. It's like my fourth favorite match of the two nights, which is not an insult in this match. Just I thought these were two fucking awesome shows. So, that's where I'm at with this. A really, really awesome match that I'm quite sure other people have even higher than I do, because it just dragged a little bit for me at times. I'll start with you, Chris. What did you think of Kota Ibushi and Jay White?
I wavered on it. There were certain points where I was like, what are we doing here? Where are we going? And the Jay White working the leg thing for me is always about the Kamigoye. And like they've told that story in the past in one of the 3 matches they've had too, and it worked for him. So, but ultimately, like as the match progressed, the pacing was such that I kept thinking we were headed into the finish, and it didn't end, and it would go through another kind of cycle. And I think they did a really good job pacing a match that they, for whatever reason, went really long on. And by the end of it, I was convinced that it could go either way, and that all of a sudden Jay White could snap out of the haze he was in, or Ibushi could put it all together and then the match. And for me, anytime a match is in question like that, that's when I get really invested, obviously. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't mind the time so much. I didn't notice it until the 25-minute call, honestly. I think most Jay White matches start about the same, with the same similar pacing, so that it wasn't even really jarring for me. But then once they went past, say, 35, and they hadn't even teased a big finish, it felt like it was going to go really long, and it did. But I think it worked for it. I think they did a good job pacing it out, if this was the goal that they wanted.
Want to jump in, Liam? I know obviously you're heartbroken that Jay White couldn't get the win. I'll remember him reaching for those belts at the end of the match, for probably the rest of my life, because that was such a great character moment by him. Yeah. He's just but I'm supposed to have them. They were supposed to be mine. Yeah, just a great moment.
So I have to take an L here, obviously, because I called Jay winning this match, and that obviously didn't happen, and I actually don't mind that. I remember going to Dash 3 years ago after that Tanahashi match at Wrestle Kingdom, and wearing a Switchblade shirt, like the original before Chaos Switchblade shirt. And some British guy came up to me kind of drunk, and he was like, "What are you doing wearing that dork's shirt?" And I was like, in that accent. And I basically very calmly told him, in 5 years, this guy will be main eventing the Tokyo Dome, and he will be outshining everyone on the card. And I might take an L on the result of this match, but I take a W on predicting that. This is one of the best matches I've ever seen. I thought the pacing was incredible. I thought the performance from both Ibushi and White were outstanding. I thought, I'm going to gush about White a little bit. I thought he came in here and took absolute control of this massive building and was the absolute star of this match. His execution of moves, his charisma, his character work, his gradual realization that he's not going to win this was just fucking outstanding. I'm so proud of him, and I am a little sad that this is probably the end of this arc for him.
The leg hold, especially when he's just screaming at him and going why would you just tap out? The belts are mine. Yeah, really good character work from him. That is for sure.
Yeah, so I am just blown away by this performance, and blown away by Bushi's performance as well. I'm blown away by this match.
Jeff, you were also very, very high on this, so go ahead, and what did you think of the match?
I went the full 5. So I think it's genuinely wrong to give an opinion about a match any level of moral force. With that being said, anyone under 5 on this is wrong and bad, and I refuse to debate it beyond sticking my tongue out at them and saying they're wrong like a donkey. I'm not doing it. This match fucking ruled. Jay, to me, feels like the modern evolution of an 80s territory heel, which I borderline fetishize. So that's just the kind of match I like. For me, it was the perfect pacing for what I expect from a main event. These two have fantastic chemistry, and that Jay, really plays with the idea of momentum a lot, and he is constantly cutting off Ibushi in this match when Ibushi starts to get ahead. And the way they played with like the normal formula of a New Japan match, where like Chris had mentioned, they made you think they were going to the finish, and then they didn't. And they just continued to like add layers to the match. There were sections of the match just they continued to stack on top of one another, and you couldn't really tell when it was going to go to the finish because they teased something like that so many times. While this was long, and I usually dislike that about a New Japan match, this was done in a different way that stuck out. And if this is what I could expect from a New Japan main event going forward, I don't give a fuck how long it is. It was great.
Yeah, and I guess you don't give a fuck about interference either, because I had a lot of that.
Nope.
Okay, I'm just saying. I want to get that on the record because I was told repeatedly that interference is like the devil and destroy New Japan.
Bad interference sucks, but I have always maintained that interference when done. So I like Raven, right? Like I like Raven's ECW run. The reason is the interference in his matches was well choreographed. I thought Evil's interference stuff was a little bit lazy, but I think people are also probably stretching it with him a bit. It was never really the issue with the matches for me. It was a part of the problem, but people who made it like, oh, interference has killed New Japan. Just get the fuck up the street.
I mean, they've been doing it since fucking 2013. I mean,
this isn't.
That's been my whole thing with this. It's just like there's a spot in this match where Gato gets up on the apron to distract Kota Ibushi when he's about to do the Phoenix Plus to Jay White. That is literally lifted from a match from 5 years ago.
Right.
So they've been doing this long enough to do a spot that's a callback to another Ibushi title match from 5 fucking years ago, and people are acting like this is some kind of new development.
Well, and the other thing for me with the interference is, in a lot of promotions like WWE, if somebody interferes, they never get their comeuppance. They just don't.
That's true too.
So
Gato got destroyed here with Ibushi with a huge smile.
That always happens. The same thing happened to the Tanahashi match. Gato came in, he got the shit smacked out of him, and then Tanahashi rolled up Jay.
Dick Togo got destroyed too.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's always building to that. It's always building to some babyface payoff. They don't just do heat and then laugh about it and go on about their lives. They're not neutering their baby faces.
With AJ Styles doing it, it was building to Red Shoes telling the entire Bullet Club to suck it and sending them all to the back so he could lose the title.
And they did the same thing with Jay White in the G1 Climax with Ibushi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think for all the talk about long-term storytelling in New Japan, you'd think these people would have some fucking patience. But
nobody has any patience, I guess. I don't know.
And then my only other comment on this is, and by the way, I'm part of that too. I'm not going to pretend I didn't have reservations. I absolutely was impatient with some of the shit, but it was more about match quality than it was that. Anyway, I think Jay losing was actually the best outcome for him.
Well, he's gonna turn. I think he gets. Does he get kicked out of Bullet Club tomorrow? Anyone want to throw that take out there?
Yes. Yeah. He's done.
Yeah.
He's gone.
I think he gets kicked out tomorrow. That's
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
I think he had to win this, and one of the things I was thinking was if they go to a draw here, does he still get kicked out for not getting the job done?
The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is Evil did lose too, so maybe they both go well, you lost, so they do another month of the two of them, fucking both trying to say they're the leader of Bullet Club, but then, I mean, if they do that, I mean, it's happening in it'll just happen on the New Beginning tour instead. In other words,
it's absolutely happening.
It's definitely coming. Yeah.
Now, but what I do hope, so a lot of people want Jay White to become a white meat babyface. I don't want that. I want him to become a cunning kind of.
He should join LI. I mean, he should join LIJ.
Oh God! Don't give me hope.
He should join LIJ. He and Naito have this weird chemistry, and he would be great. And they're like the shit-eating faces, and he would be the shit-eating grin face. I mean,
okay, but are you comfortable with Naito moving down the card in that case? Because he's absolutely doing that.
No, I mean they would be co-leaders. I don't know.
I haven't seen. I don't know.
Well, okay, look, I'm putting this out there again. If people still doubt me, Naito does not go backstage yesterday and say, "I am main eventing the Tokyo Dome again." If he's not main eventing the Tokyo Dome again, he just would not do that.
He's absolutely I don't think they'll actually team, but or maybe they do in some. I don't
actually think Jay White's going to join LIJ. I'm making a joke. But
I think they could team. I absolutely think they could team.
Anyway,
like once.
Anyway, the point is, they're either turning on Jay tomorrow or they're turning on Jay at the end of New Beginning. So,
I agree.
Okay, John, you haven't gotten to say anything yet. So anything about the match? Or
what are we talking about again?
Talking about Bushi. So what happens when you have 4 guests? You know.
I thought it was interesting that you brought up Ibushi and Okada from last year, because while that similarly was losing me in the first 10-12 minutes, the reward in Ibushi and Okada for me was like 10 molten incredible minutes, and this grabbed me for like 30-35 straight where I was just completely gripped. And this match I thought like took a lot on its back and succeeded. Like the stuff with like Jay standing up to, psycho murder Ibushi and not backing down and just getting dropped over and over and then being frustrated on the outside and screaming while he's throwing him into the rails. It did a lot for like establishing Ibushi as the scary champ and just building this character it's going to develop into a face turn for Jay. And just like huge match.
It was really fun just to see him get mad, because he never gets mad about anything really. So like see him get that angry and screaming "fuck you" and like throwing him back and forth was really cool.
Yeah, I like Liam said before, I think like Jay was the star of this match. I mean, Ibushi was great too. By the end, Ibushi came off like a world-class champ, and I'm excited for that reign because of how the night ended. But I thought Jay was tremendous. And I also thought Jeff said something that I wish I'd just said a bunch of times whenever this topic came up. Good interference is good and bad interference is bad. What a simple concept. What a neat little sentence that I wish I'd said a long time ago.
So Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done.
Oh, no. I mean, I was going to say, like, even in this match, like, when Gato came in, I thought that was a little dicey, only because of how late in the match it was. But I thought they handled that neatly. And, I thought this match just kept escalating and escalating and escalating in a way. Like, every time I thought I was worn out, it would escalate just a little more. And I guess I was going to circle back to the Gato run-in, talking about that. But, yeah, I don't know. I like the match a lot. I think there's not much more I could say that everyone else didn't already cover.
Did you go 5 or are you a coward?
No, I'm a total coward. I couldn't go 5.
You fucking coward.
I gotta preserve these 5s. I only got so many 5s in the bag,
I knew you hated weights.
So did you win 4 3/4?
I don't know. 4 and 3, probably 4 and 3. Like when the match was over, I didn't know how to star rate it.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I was going back and forth.
I think it's sticking. It feels like it's going to stick with me in a real big way.
Like for me, I just didn't like it as much as the 4.5-star matches from these two shows. So I didn't think I should give it 4.5. So that's why I went 4 1/4. But it's all fucking bullshit anyway. Who cares? But the other thing at the end of the show, of course, is Sonata coming out to challenge Ibushi. Now, everybody freaked the fuck out about this because, of course, they did. I'm going to make 2 big points here that I would like you to, you the listener, if you're one of these people freaking out about Sonata, which you're probably not because you have good enough taste to listen to Wrestling Omakase. But let's just, let's pretend for a second you're one of these people who's freaking out about Sonata. First of all, if you're paying attention, he said he was going to challenge the winner, whoever walks out the double titles, if he beat Evil about 500 times. That may be understating it. Like he said that a whole bunch of times in a bunch of interviews, and I think he put it on Instagram. Like he may as well have taken out a fucking skywriter over Tokyo that said, "I will challenge the Dome winner."
Yeah, but I know the planet's doomed to global warming. That doesn't make it any less bad news, right?
Anyway, well, that's number one. But people acted shocked, John. So that's what I'm dealing with. First of all, it's like if you didn't know Sonata was challenging here, you weren't paying attention. He said it very over and over and over again, and he had a very easy explanation. He beat a former double champion twice in a row. He thinks he deserves a title shot. Makes perfect sense. Second of all, if you're complaining, he's fucking challenging for fucking New Beginning in Hiroshima or New Beginning in Nagoya. Who gives a shit? Like people acted like I assume. I don't know. Unless they're going to do a New Year Dash tomorrow. Is that what you're...
No, I was thinking they've got those 2 Osaka Joe ball shows.
Right, but they have 2 tours, though. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I assumed, because they have 3 shows here, that they have to have a title defense on one of those 3, especially when they don't have that many belts. I mean, I just figured Sonata is going to be a challenger for one of those New Beginning shows. And they have a whole other tour for Castle Attack with its own Road 2 shows. So, I assume they'll have another challenger for Castle Attack. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he's probably challenging for fucking New Beginning. I mean, look, the man has challenged for New Beginning before. I mean, this is not that big a deal. It's not like it's, like New Beginning challenger is really not that big a spot. It's not like this is it's not the fucking main event Dominion. Like, I hate to tell you. So,
but how many times can Sonata lose?
Well, that's a different discussion.
But that's
evidently quite
that's part of the concern. I mean,
I think he could win.
I think he can win too.
Okay, well, that you guys can put that take out there. I would give him like 0.0% chance, but
I think it's a small percent chance, but I think he'd absolutely win.
Okay.
New Beginning, like they've done 2 rocket pushes to the main event at New Beginning before, so there's no reason why they couldn't do it for a 3rd time.
And Evil was the double champ 3 months ago.
No, that's fair. You really think they're going to give Ibushi okay?
I absolutely don't think he's winning.
If they were going to give Ibushi a 1-month reign, like if Will Ospreay came out to challenge him, I'd be a little more worried because that seems like the kind of thing they would do. They're not going to have another babyface beat a babyface to start their big babyface title reign. Like, I don't know, unless he's hurting, I guess it's possible. But it seems very weird to be like, hey, you waited for Kota Ibushi to win the double titles. Now Sonata's going to beat him in a month. Like, it seems like they usually try to avoid doing that kind of thing to, avoid having the Ibushi fans resent Sonata, right? So that's why I don't think that's.
Fuck the Ibushi fans.
I'm just saying that's what I.
Yeah, they got their shot. They're like the Naito fans now. You won your title. Just eat shit now.
I'm giving the explanation why I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, I think Ibushi. I don't think Ibushi will be a long champion. I mean, it's just we went over this in the DDT episode. He never really is. I think he'll either lose at Castle Attack or he'll lose it at Sakura Genesis. But I don't know, just not. I just don't see him losing to Sonata at New Beginning. I think he'll, I think it's going to go to Will Ospreay next, which people are going to love. But I think Will Ospreay,
the Empire.
Yeah, I think Will Ospreay is going to win the titles, get that little heel, establish the belt reign. But that's just it's not what I want to happen. For the record, it's just what I'm predicting. So before anybody tries to cancel me, anyway. But anything else about this main event or Sonata challenging or anything else before I move on? No? Okay. So let's go to the semi-main event, which is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Hiromu Takahashi defeating Taiji Ishimori in 25-31 with the Time Bomb 2. Hiromu becomes the 88th Junior Heavyweight champion. His 3rd reign with the belt, I think. Or is it 4th? I don't even know.
4th.
It is 4th. Okay, there you go. But yeah, this was another fucking incredible match. I mean, just really, really awesome stuff here. The first 10 minutes were really good. Like, had all that kind of wild stuff you'd expect. The Hiromu hitting this enormous German suplex to counter a handstand attack from Taiji, which I think he's done before, but it always looks great. And then Ishimori comes back with this Canadian Destroyer out of nowhere. But the match really went to another level when Ishimori just starts fucking pummeling Hiromu with these elbow shots. Like, he's screaming, which is echoing through the dome, which is another example of where the unique atmosphere actually worked to their advantage, where you would not have that much of an echo with a normal crowd that's able to react like normal. He's just fuck. It's just, the entire thing just looked brutal. Hiromu was just collapsing, and then Ishimori just won't let him. It wasn't an elbow exchange. He wouldn't let Hiromu do anything. Just kept rocking him with these elbows. Finally, does his last sliding elbow. Hiromu's selling he's completely out, and he's one of the best in the world at doing that. So that's obviously great. And then Ishimori goes to the back to the shoulder that he he targeted and won the match with that back at Jingu, and it all sets up him getting the Mystica into the yes lock. He goes for the they get that stranglehold, the bone lock, I think it's called again too. But Hiromu finally makes his big comeback and hits the running Death Valley driver to the exposed corner. Hits the time bomb. Ishimori kicks out too. They do a big counter sequence at the end, and Hiromu gets out of the yes lock again, and then counters the Bloody Cross into this almost even more faster or high angle victory royale than he normally does, and then hits the time bomb 2 for the win. I thought this was so fucking awesome. I went 4.5 on this. Not as good as their Best of Super Junior 2018 final. A little better than the Jingu match, I thought, which I also loved. But yeah, these two just have amazing chemistry, and they never go out there and have anything other than an awesome match. This was my match of the night, I think. I mean, it's really close between this and another match we're going to talk about, but I love this match, so this is the one I'm going with, I think. John, I'll start with you this time. What did you think of Hiromu and Ishimori?
I was saying before this match started that even though I know these two always hit when they're together, it's hard to get excited for me because all the hype when these two are together comes from that 2018 match. But ever since then, Ishimori has felt less and less relevant. His last title reign felt like it was just a way to get the belt off of Kushida. And when he won the belt this time, I gasped when he won in Jingu. It made no sense to me. It felt like he'd been downcycled for so long. And I guess that speaks to what I was saying last night about how there's not a lot left in that division when you've lost so much talent in it. But that said, Ishimori still rules whenever he's in there with Hiromu. This match, the Jingu match, I loved how it was just a sprint. It was the junioriest match you could have. And this one, being so different, made me love the Jingu match and retroactively even more than I did. The way the tone shifted when Ishimori starts blasting him with those elbows was so sick. It ruled, and just like I said, the big thing for me was the way it balanced off their last match, which I also loved. Killer match.
Jeff, what did you think of this one?
So I'm actually the low man on it. It's my least favorite 4-star match of all time because on a personal level, it just does some things that I dislike out of matches. I thought Hiromu running into the same elbow for what seemed like 5 minutes, just over and over, was kind of... I get that he's crazy, but it went from crazy to just, okay, he's just being dumb. And while I thought the spot was cool because it was stiff and that's kind of up my alley, I don't know, I didn't care for that as much as other people did. And I thought him running into it and then they had that great sequence following, and I thought it would have been a great finish. I thought that could have been the finish. And then it wasn't, and then it went, and then it went, and that great section there in the middle just kind of lost impact for me. And I know that happens in a lot of matches now, but it's just, if I watch you get elbowed in the face 46 times, I feel like that can be a suitable finish. I also didn't like the ramp spot where Hiromu took 5 minutes walking up the ramp to do a drop kick. Just that kind of stuff doesn't land for me. But obviously the work in the match was fantastic. I mean, these two are great in-ring workers, so I thought the work itself was fine. I just, from a psychology standpoint, some of it didn't land with me.
What did you think, Liam?
I have no hyperbole or no I really like this match, but I have very little to say about it. Ishimori put in a ton of effort, which he doesn't always do. Hiromu is Hiromu. I thought this was very good. I don't think it was a patch on the Korakuen Best of Super Junior final, which will probably never be topped by these two. These two need to not touch for a while now, get them away from each other. Hiromu called out someone in the post-match, which is interesting. But
who do you call out?
The backstage injuries. I called out Sho.
Oh. Well, yeah, Sho did beat him in the Best Super Junior, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the next match, which I'm
I love their Best of Super Junior match, so I got no problem with that.
Yeah. Okay. I will decline to comment further then. But I thought this was a very good match, and I really have nothing more to say about it.
Okay, Chris, I guess what'd you think here of Hiromu and Ishimori?
I guess similarly. I
was trying to go through my head. I'm like, am I doing the order right? Is it going back and forth? But
similarly, I liked it a lot, but I don't have a ton to say about it. I do like Hiromu trying to speak a junior main event at the Tokyo Dome into existence. That's something that sounded like he was shrieking about after on his way back down the aisle. So I would love that. I don't know who it would be against, though. I don't know that the division has enough, a challenger hot enough to make any sense of that. But
go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah. What's up?
I was just going to say they have a main event junior now. The same main event junior who main evented Budokan. That would be the main event, but you know. We will see when this main event junior gets the main event at the Tokyo Dome, won't we?
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, there you go.
There might be something to squeeze out there, though. But yeah, I mean, match was great. I love junior heavyweight wrestling. I love Hiromu. I love Taiji Ishimori, to be honest. And because I'm that guy, this was the longest junior heavyweight title match in Tokyo Dome history. Oh wow! And one of the longer ever, to be perfectly honest.
Really, 25-31?
Over 25, yeah.
That's a long. Wow, you would have think like Liger would have had some long ones or something.
Or I mean, I guess you would have thought Ospreay and Hiromu would have gone longer than that last year. So, but where'd
they go?
I think they were 24. Yeah. So I mean, they're about the same, but yeah. Some longer matches on a shorter card, I guess. So that kind of adds up.
Yeah. Match number 4 was Sonata defeating Evil in 23:40 with a moonsault. There's a lot to say about this, so I'm going to try to be a little brief because I don't want to go an hour and a half again today. First of all, if it's been 6 months of these COVID-era shows, if you still cannot tell or pretend not to tell, I think in a lot of cases, when the crowds are into matches and when they're not into matches, like, I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like, there's very obvious cues. I mean, if they clap way louder, that's a cue. If they're making audible reactions of any kind when they're not supposed to, that's a clue. I mean, it's really not that hard to tell, honestly. I mean, sometimes they're into it and sometimes they're not. It's just, if they go a long time without clapping, they're probably not that into it. They were into this match, and I saw people with the take that they weren't. And again, there is nothing wrong with you, the listener. If you thought this match sucked, if you think Evil and Sonata suck, that's fine. You don't have to project your opinion onto these 7,800, whatever the fuck it was, Japanese people in the Tokyo Dome. It's fine if they like this match and they like these wrestlers and you don't. There is lots of stuff that I watch and have watched over the years that gets a huge reaction from the live crowd that I can't fucking stand or that's fucking terrible. I never crossed my mind to be like, well, this whatever, this thing I hated just wasn't that over. It's like, no, these two guys are over and this match was over, and you can just admit that. You don't have to make shit up and pretend that, they weren't over just because you didn't like them. I mean, your opinion and their opinion does not have to be the same. It's fine. That's the first thing I wanted to say. Second thing I wanted to say is this match ruled. I mean, I thought this was really good. I went 4 stars on it, 4 stars flat. I mean, I guess like we keep saying, if you were expecting rings, I'm sure you were disappointed, but knowing what it was going to be going in, I thought they did about the best job they could have done with it. I mean, just, the action was really good. I just, all the stuff they did was really good. Sonata had a really nice, Tiger suplex hold at one point. They were doing the finisher trading stuff looked good. The run-ins were timed really well with Dick Togo, and it led to a great spot where great / kind of funny, where Dick Togo does an elbow drops a table when he collides with Evil, and falls backwards and just crashes through this table, which is again one of those spots I'm going to remember for a very long time, and a great example of them paying off, like we talked about earlier. The heels getting their comeuppance there. But yeah, and then Sonata takes advantage of that with an O'Connor roll and almost beats Evil just like he did the G1, which was a great near fall. but Evil comes back with this awesome lariat, which I like it when he reminds people he can still do that kind of stuff. But then Sonata comes back by hitting the Evil on Evil, hits the STO on him, hits this big pop-up TKO, and then follows that up with a moonsault for the pin. And the crowd, again to my original point, they break the COVID protocols to react to that finish in case you somehow still think Sonata's not over, this match isn't over. This was awesome. I went 4 stars. I mean, it was goofy at times, so I get... If somebody else tells me they didn't like this match, I totally get it. If you just don't like these two guys and you can't stand the spoilers choker and, Dick Togo elbow dropping through a table, I get it. But I thought this was great. I had a blast with it, and I couldn't go lower than 4 on a match that I enjoyed pretty much from start to finish. John, I guess I will start with you this time. What did you have here for Evil and Sonata? Do you want
El Phantasmo, right?
Any more Evil rants?
I'm going to take a couple deep breaths before I start. I drank some water. I like this match a lot, believe it or not, because my thing with these two. With Sonata and Evil, for different reasons, is the place I enjoy them both least is the main event. And below that, I think they're lovely. I wanted this. So I was excited for this match because of, the moment where Sonata snapped on Evil. And going into this show, I was hoping this would be like a real nasty brawl between these two. And it wasn't. It was kind of silly, As soon as the Paradise Lock happened that early, you knew you were just having like a fun little romp, which was, I think, to the benefit of the show. This was sandwiched between 2 pretty intense matches, and this felt like a nice, like, cute breath of fresh air. I had a good time.
Pro wrestling's allowed to be fun. I mean, this was just a fun match. I totally get that, and that is kind of a critique, I guess, that Sonata didn't come out here like all House of Fire like he was at the Budokan. But once I got over that, I thought the match was great. So I can't really sit here.
Same, and I really think it was the right choice, especially for where it was placed in the show. Here's another, the way Dick Togo was used in this match, he didn't stretch out, he didn't ruin a 45-minute match. He popped in for a second. I said during the match, at this point, Dick Togo showing up, pulling a ref out and doing his own set of moves is pretty much like one of Evil's signature moves at this point. You just gotta, allow it to happen. But here it didn't disrupt the match that bad. And by the time Dick Togo does the elbow drop himself through the table,
I watched the GIF of that like 5 times. It was so.
It was great. I was smiling and laughing. I mean, and for what it's worth, it wasn't all like. I thought Sonata and Evil worked hard. That one lariat you pointed out, I thought was so sick. It was good. A fun 3.5. It was a nice little break between the two matches. It was sandwiched between.
Chris, what do you think about Evil and Sonata?
I'm glad that this is the approach that they took, as opposed to like the bitter grudge match, like trying to match Ospreay and Okada the night before. This was, well done, well put together. It was the like very typical heel gets their comeuppance story against their former tag partner that they kind of pseudo turned against earlier in the year, right? So this was the culmination of Evil and LIJ. Really, it was like the last step, the last person that he needed to battle with. So. Had a good time. I like Sonata. I know that's a divisive take in its own way too, but I think Sonata's a really good wrestler. Singles matches with Sonata usually land with me, and this one's no different because Evil also has like really good subtle comedy timing, which kind of worked with the Dick Togo thing. So this was probably my favorite Evil match since the turn, if that counts for anything, because it was just kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Evil Naito Power Struggle match better for sure. Probably at least one other one, but I definitely think it was up there. That Yoshihashi one he had in the G1 too.
I was just walking back to the computer to unmute to bring up the Yoshihashi match.
Yeah, but Zack Sabre Jr.
You got it covered.
Yeah, he had some good ones, but I totally get it if this is your favorite because there was it was a really good match. Liam, what do you think here about Evil and Sonata?
So in the JCast Discord, where I usually reside during these shows, someone posted a Evil Sonata Wrestle Kingdom 15 bingo card.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the bingo card has all these like different types of bullshit that happens during these matches on it. And by the end of this match, I think it had like 12 or 13 squares marked off. And I was like, okay, that's cool. This match had all of the bullshit. And sometimes, like, you know, I think the complaint about too much bullshit, like, I don't know. I don't think it's like totally valid, but I sometimes you gotta have a match where like the bullshit just washes over you like a wave washing you off a beach, and you turn your brain off and you don't think like, oh, this is a 4.5 star match or whatever it is, but just like this is a fun, entertaining ride I'm going on. That I'm just like, what's gonna happen? What's the story? What's, you know, how is our lovely hero Seiya Sanada going to overcome? And he did, because Seiya Sanada is a beautiful man who overcomes all the adversity that he faces. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a ton of fun. I'm very curious what they do with Eel now, because he's kind of a dork.
You're not wrong.
He's like yeah, he's getting, you know,
he's gonna kill Jay White is what's gonna happen. That's gonna be his moment, I guess, to get like probably bloody him or something.
I hope so. No comment. Yeah, I thought this was fun. I thought this was like a fun match. And I think if you think Sonata sucks, you can go kick rocks.
Jeff is going to jump in here to be the grump now, I think. So, Jeff, what do you think about Evil and Sonata?
Yeah, I'm going to be the Grinch. I thought it sucked. Now, look, I will say this. People who don't think the crowd was into it are just being blatantly dishonest. It's fine to say you don't like something and then acknowledge that the crowd was into it, which is what this was. I didn't like it. I don't like the fucking Paradise Lock. I hate that shit. But the crowd likes it, so... it's certainly not going to move it up my list because of that, but, you know, that doesn't fucking matter. I do think it's a little strange that the people who were kind of pushed back against the people who were... Oh, God. Lost my headphones. People... who were pushing back against the people who were anti-Ospreay with, well, the crowd won't care. You know, they'll still like him. Are doing the same exact thing with Sonata Evil. I don't like them. I don't like that they're being pushed at this level right now. But clearly the crowd likes them. And I just use it as an excellent opportunity to browse Twitter. So...
what are you going to do? I think no accountant for bad taste, as they say.
Right.
So anyway, so there you go. That's that. Sonata beat Evil, beat the double champ 2 times in a row, and he thus came out to challenge Ibushi, which is perfectly logical and also foreshadowed. So anyway, next match number 3, Shingo Takagi defeating Jeff Cobb in 21-11 with the Last of the Dragon to retain the never open weight title. Holy fuck, this rocked. I mean, like,
hell yeah.
Really, really, really rocked. I mean, I mean, look, everybody knows the deal with Shingo by now. I don't think we really have to say much about him. So I wanted to point out Jeff Cobb, because Jeff Cobb, like, I can't think of the last time a wrestler was on a run that was so fucking mediocre like Jeff Cobb's run in New Japan was before joining the Empire, and, you know, had a turn, you know, made a turn one way or the other. Usually in this case it's heel, but made the heel turn and, like, instantly revitalized his run in that promotion. I mean, he has gone from being, like, a guy I didn't actively dislike him, but just, like, if I was going to make a list of my favorite wrestlers in New Japan, he'd probably be, like, pretty low tier, like, right above the guys that I actively dislike. And now he's, like, one of, you know, I can't say one of my favorites, but he'd be in the upper mid, you know? I mean, he fucking killed it here. I mean, just throwing Shingo all over the fucking place. This match is just basically 2 big dudes suplexing the shit out of each other, lariating the piss out of each other, just throwing each other all over the place. Jeff Cobb, you know, he hit this amazing pile driver on Shingo when Shingo, you know, almost got counted out. Like, he basically gets him right at 19, which Shingo did a great job with that count out tease. Just a really, really good job. And the moment he gets back in the ring, Jeff Cobb just grabs him and drills him into the mat, which is like maybe the spot of the night. Just an amazing spot. You know, just, you know, Cobb even sold the leg really well when he couldn't go for the pin after the Tour of the Islands. just this fucking rocked, blew me away. I thought it would be really good, but I did not think it would be 4.5 stars good, which is what I have it at. And Cobb is just incredibly, just turned his whole New Japan career around with this heel turn. I mean, he went from a guy who was doing nothing, who was going nowhere, and now he's up there, toward the top of the company. But yeah, they're just a really, really, really great match here. And, I'm not too surprised if Shingo won, but, we'll have to see where the Never belt goes from here. I guess I really don't have any idea. But, yeah, just an outstanding match. I guess, Jeff, we'll start with you this time. What did you think of Shingo and Cobb?
This ruled. I also went 4.5 on this. I was not sold on Cobb when he came to New Japan. In fact, I was actually a little let down that they signed him. I was fucking wrong, eating a humongous L here. This ruled. So this year, and I think it'll probably actually for the last 2 or 3, I feel like a lot of never matches feel like they are matches trying to be never matches, if that makes sense.
No,
so
I totally get what you mean. Yeah.
I feel like a lot I don't know how many times I can watch Ishii and generic guy here, Goto, Shingo, Hanari, pick your poison, do forearm exchanges and run into each other really hard. Everything in this match felt earned.
Do you know where that formula jump the shark was? That Shingo Ishii match from this year's G1, which is I don't know, they did too many of them in a row, and it just with those two guys specifically, and that was wow, I just really want that match to end. So,
yeah.
Nothing against both guys. I mean, I love both guys, but I needed that match to end.
But to me, everything in this match felt earned. Even the throws, they felt violent, and it didn't feel like there was any. There was no one working with them, even like Shingo. So in the beginning, he was struggling to throw Cobb, so he used the momentum of the ropes to do a fucking Saito suplex, and that ruled. This just felt like a fucking fight. This did have the I don't know, I was really high on this match. I thought this was going to be my match of the night going in after it happened, actually. Turned out to be my second favorite, but this fucking ruled. And I'm sticking by my take that Cobb is still the second best member of Empire, by the way.
Okay. Who's the best?
In-ring, God, okay, just get me canceled, why don't you, John? In-ring, Ospreay's probably still the best. But...
Okay. What do you think here, Liam?
So first, I want to note that the reason why the Never matches have been bad recently is because Ishii is bad now. Push him immediately, replace him, as I said yesterday, with Kojima, and the Never division would be 100 times better.
That is, folks, that is Liam McCann not speaking for the Wrestling Omakase podcast before you all unsubscribe from your Patreon subscription.
Liam, you beautiful man, that is a brave take.
This fucking owned. I want these two to fight forever. I want these two to, just rip the fuck out of each other and suplex each other for 22 minutes every single night for the next 2 years. I was super impressed by Cobb's cardio here, especially. Like, the first year he was in New Japan, the big criticism here was, he was getting really blown up in a lot of his G1 matches. But he kept at an astonishing pace with Shingo at this point, and really, really, upped his game. I think, easily his best New Japan match. And I think Shingo, I really like Shingo, but I also think he can get a little rote sometimes, a little formulaic. And I think Cobb was able to pull him out of that and pull some really interesting spots and some really interesting sort of sequences. And I thought they were a really, really, they have amazing chemistry. And I want to, in summation, I want to see these two fight for the Never title, for perpetuity, and Ishii can go get in the bin.
Okay, again, Liam's take, folks. Liam's take. Chris Samsa, what'd you think of, I don't know why I said your last name, you're only Chris here. What'd you think of the Shingo and Jeff Cobb match?
I mean, what a fun brawl. What a violent 21-minute, almost sprint, right? These guys just kept going. Cobb looked awesome. This was the match I've wanted Jeff Cobb and Shingo to have in their previous interactions, and they didn't, and it fell flat. And I think a lot of that, looking back on that, was just Cobb's lack of character direction, right? So now at least Cobb's got some fire under him, something to fight for, And obviously Shingo he's one of the best in the world, and this was one of the perfect Jeff Cobb matches and one of the perfect Shingo matches with like a big beefy guy. So I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm glad they didn't do a title change here too. I mean, the Never's just one of those titles that gets bounced every Wrestle Kingdom. So I was half expecting just Jeff Cobb's going to win this. I had that as a preconceived notion going into it. So I was very surprised when Shingo ended up with the victory, even though I don't think he's done in this division by any means, but it's just, that's been the booking the past 6 years.
Yeah.
The never title changes hands. So I was just waiting for it to happen, and Cobb looked so good that it was fine. I would have been totally okay with it, but when Shingo pulled out the win, I was surprised, and I always like to be surprised by the end of a match. So great match. These guys killed it. I can't wait for them to do it again. And I can't wait to see Jeff Cobb do this with other people too. I want to see Jeff Cobb's next singles run be more of this and less of the smiling Hawaiian.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much better. Such a better fit for him in New Japan. John, what'd you think of Shingo and Cobb?
So I've been really rooting for Jeff Cobb ever since he came in on that first G1.
He seems like a really nice guy for all.
Yeah,
all
right.
Accounts. So. Yeah.
And I was just a fan of his work before he came to New Japan, and I'm always excited for anything that can provide new, exciting matchups in New Japan. But his first G1 was a bummer. And who could imagine that now there'd be all five of us unanimously talking about how excited we are about Jeff Cobb. It's great. And I loved the G1 match he had with Shingo. I thought that match was great. And I loved the way that it was built around Shingo having to reckon with his size. And I loved in this match how it began that way. It used a lot of the same spots of Shingo having to use like momentum and leverage to get Jeff off the ground. And then over time, Shingo just says, fuck it, I'm picking this guy up. And it's so cool that a guy who was in the best of the Super Juniors last year, or 2 years ago, I should say now, is hoisting up Jeff Cobb effortlessly in this match. And beyond that, like you guys said earlier, you know what you're getting with never title matches. And I love that never style match, but you can't help but get fatigued by it over time. The Ishigoto circuit, and Cobb offers this neat wrinkle that varies it up a little bit. And I love Shingo, but I was like, I don't know how much more of these never I'm not ready. Like I'm burnt out in these never matches, and this blew me away. It was like relentless, and I'm like, I think Liam said Cobb's cardio. I couldn't believe the way he kept up with Shingo. This was a Shingo paced match, and Cobb kept up. It was great. Totally like relentless match. I was begging them to stop hurting each other by the end. Real good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have final thoughts on any predictions about where the Nevers are going from here? I have no idea.
I don't really have any Never predictions, but I do hope that. So while I do think Cobb in the Never division is a cool little thing, I really want to see him get a world title match against whoever has the title. I guess I think he can have him versus Naito. Sounds like it would own in a big spot.
Cobb would be a great filler defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really want to see him with like a Bushi or Naito, one of those guys who can just bump around for him. That would also be a great time to maybe have a match that doesn't go 45 minutes. But yeah, I mean, a 25-minute match with him and Bushi or Naito just sounds like it'd be great.
Ishii will challenge again, and I'll go to sleep.
Do you have any Never prediction, Chris?
No. Honestly, there's not a ton of direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if something comes up on Dash.
Yeah, probably. Alrighty.
I think with the Never,
Tanahashi for the Never.
That'd be sick. I think with the Never, like Shingo holding it and hopefully getting some fresh challengers could be a real great opportunity to make that belt matter in a real sense and not just in a like internet nerds like us get excited for it sense. I was hoping it would go that way back when Suzuki took the belt from him.
My fan with the Japanese fans is they don't give a shit about the Never title, from what I can tell.
Totally. Yeah, I don't get the impression the title the only weight that title has with me is I know it'll be a good match, but I don't think the belt itself matters.
Yeah.
I'd like it for that belt to matter, and I think
It's
Shingo holding it for a while could help.
It's a weird title with an acronym based on a sub-roster show that they were doing for a long time, and in this fucking nightclub that doesn't even exist anymore, by the way. And then the show where the title tournament happened, that was the final Never show, and then they never had another Never show again, and the titles lasted fucking 8 years after that. But it's I don't know. It's a very imagine getting into New Japan in 2019 and asking some fan what's the Never title? They're gonna have to explain to you all that basically, and you're gonna be your eyes are gonna glaze over. They're probably just gonna tell you it's this weird title. That's probably what they're gonna say. So it doesn't obviously represent anything, So it's a very weird title. I just buried the Never title, unfortunately. But
yeah, real quick, do you think so? They were kind of teasing Tanahashi Shingo in the tag league. So and Tanahashi just beat Okan. So
who else pinned Shingo? David Finlay pinned him.
Yeah,
but he can't get back in the country till February.
What a shame.
I like David Finlay. I don't know why everybody hates David Finlay.
I like David Finlay, but I don't want a David Finlay.
I like David Finlay, but if my options are Shingo versus Tanahashi or Shingo versus David Finlay, Finlay can fuck off.
I don't know why you guys. Where do you think they're really going to feed Tanahashi to Shingo? I don't see that at all. But I could.
Tanahashi can't keep up with Shingo at this point.
How fucking dare you? He will do whatever he needs to do to keep up with that man. That man can do whatever the hell he wants.
He's held together by athletic tape, hairspray, and painkillers. So
he will.
So are a lot of people.
Make this work.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of the best wrestling of all time was brought to you by painkillers.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tanahashi can make a match work with pretty much anyone. Shingo is included in that list. I think that match would own. I thought their exchanges in tag league were great. And you know what? Fuck it. It's happening. So.
Okay. It's not happy at New Beginning, I can tell you that. I'll be sure. Now watch it happen. Watch the challenge happen.
It's happening.
Now that I said that out loud, just so somebody can come use it on me. All right, we can get through these last two matches pretty quick, I think.
John, you missed a match. You missed a match during the intermission.
What did I miss?
That's right, you did.
Naito Kadani.
Naito Kadani, baby.
I mean, it is so fucking funny that they brought that feud back.
I know.
They brought that feud back to sell a smartphone game. There's probably people watching who don't even understand that whole thing. That was a big storyline in 2016 when Naito was doing his original heel run, and he was very mad. They even mentioned this in the first promo where they New Japan said they were making some crazy financial investment in Okada. I forget the exact amount. It was 2 billion yen. It was what? Sorry?
200 million yen.
Okay, I was going to say 2 billion yen, so I was close. Yeah. But yeah, 200 million yen investment, which is $2 million. And yeah, it's and Naito made fun of that a lot and basically insulted Kadani a lot about it and was like, oh, since you're making the 200 million yen investment, I can't beat your boy now. And then obviously did beat him at Invasion Attack 2016 with help from Sonata during his debut. A match I was at, by the way. Anyway, the Naito Kadani feud kind of petered after that, but it was just when Naito won the belt, he would start calling out the Kadani owner as he called him, and it was a whole big thing. So the fact that they're bringing that back 4 years later to sell a smartphone app is so fucking great. But yeah, Kadani, people might not even know who Kadani is. He's a Bushiroad executive basically, so doesn't have a lot to do with New Japan's day-to-day operations because there's a big controversy with that when he brought in Shibata and Sakuraba and they were saying he meddled with the in-ring too much, so he agreed to basically step back from that. But anyway, that's all ancient history now. It's just funny they brought it up to sell a smartphone app. It's really funny. And there was no event announcements, by the way, either. I assume because they just don't fucking know what things are going to look like after March. They just reiterated that, because usually, obviously, we get a whole big year calendar at Wrestle Kingdom, which we did not get this year. They just, reiterated that the next big show in Tokyo is the anniversary show at Budokan, which, that was already known. So no big announcements at all, really.
Is the Jazzercise with Tenzan and Nagata a new thing?
I think that is a new thing. Yeah,
I'm loving it. That was one of my favorite things on these shows too.
The third generation, whatever the hell it was called, I don't even remember. Okay, I'm like falling asleep here, so let me get to this next match. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defeat Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato. Desperado pins Taguchi in 13:20 with the Pinche Loco for their second defense. I thought this was good. I don't have a ton to say about it. I thought it was a good match. The thing that stuck out the most for me was when Taguchi did some kind of wacky move in the corner that involved like repeatedly moving Desperado's face into his ass, and this prompted Milano to say something like that basically translates to the new ass attacks in 2021 are amazing, which I thought was so fucking funny. Like he was like Sugoi ass attacks. But that's like the highlight. So again, a good match. Desperado ends up hitting the straight punch on Taguchi, gives him the Pinche Loco for the win. Nothing that blew me away or anything, but like Wato didn't embarrass himself out there or anything like I think people acted like they were so worried about. I thought he was fine, and I thought the match was good. I went like 3.5 stars. Not a ton to say about it. I don't remember how I started with last time, so I think it's your turn to go, John. What did you think here?
Yeah, it was just a wrestling match. I like the people in it. That sounds like I didn't like it. There's not a lot to say. I thought Wato was cool. He had a cool dive.
Yeah, the dive was really cool.
What's that move he does that it was his finisher in CMLL for a while? It's
You're
like
talking about that fucking side driver thing. I don't
that
know.
like it's almost like a crucifix, but he flips you over.
I have no idea.
That move.
I always call it a side driver, which doesn't describe anything really.
I'll use that. That sounds cool.
It's called the Resiente Mente, I believe.
One more time.
I was like, I'll definitely.
Liam, you want to type that one in the chat for me?
Okay.
I was like, I'll definitely remember that. Thank you, Liam. Chris Sampson.
Thank you.
Chris, what do you got here about the Junior Tag Team Championship?
Yeah, same. Not a ton to say about it. It was a good match. Same deal. I like that they didn't just bounce the titles for the sake of bouncing the titles. I didn't think it was time for Wato and Taguchi. They seemed like just like they've got history together and all that, but they don't seem like a team that should be dethroning Kanemaru and Desperado. So I think there's more for them to do here. Hopefully lift the division up a little bit more and maybe keep getting Desperado on the shows and set him up for something cool as he kind of progresses.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, by the way, because Despi and Kanemaru, they're in canon the second most successful Junior Tag Team champions of all time. I mean, they have the second longest reign ever, and with their previous reign. It was ended by Roppongi 3K, who were, it was ended by Shingo and Bushi, which were that they were a very strong team. Shingo was like this undefeated powerhouse, and, Bushi's a former junior champion. They beat Hiromu and Bushi three times in a row in the fall. It would have felt really stupid to go from them beating Hiromu and Bushi 3 times in a row to losing to Wato and Taguchi here at the Tokyo Dome. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, I have no idea who they're going to defend against next, but I am glad they did not do that. What did you think? Sorry, Liam. God, I'm falling asleep.
I know who they're defending against next. I think it's pretty obvious, actually.
Okay. Who?
Yeah. It's 2 sleazy dirtbags from a club that we all know and love.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about ELP and
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because they are literally the only other junior tag team.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So my housemate, I'm living downstairs at the moment with this broken leg thing. My housemate walked in right as Taguchi was slamming his ass into Desperado's face. And I've never really felt more mortified watching wrestling. It was one of those, I've got a lot of explaining to do moments. But aside from that, this was a Desperado Kanemaru junior tag match, which means it rules. And I thought Wato and Taguchi both acquitted themselves really well out there. Yeah, that's about it.
What did you think here, Jeff?
Well, unfortunately for you, I have a 20-minute parable prepared for this match.
Oh, God, please, Jeff, I will pass out.
I don't. Okay. It was a match that happened. I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings about the match itself.
My adrenaline is wearing off, and now I'm just like, oh yeah, I slept 4 hours in the past 2 days. So
yeah, I wish better things for Despy. That's it.
I mean, I don't know, why does everybody act like being one half of the Junior Tag Team Champions is nothing? I mean, it's not nothing.
I think it's because the division, like, they're cool, they're a team, and Roppongi is a team. But I don't remember them ever. I don't remember the tag teams feeling so like thrown together and scattered, even in that division, as they do now. I feel like there was always at least two like teams that were cool and were exciting.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just stealing this theory, but I don't think Gato actually knows the junior tag team division exists. I just think they walk out there and he's just like, "Oh, they're out."
I have a feeling Gato knows that division exists.
Yeah, you're thinking of Noah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, match number 1. Many thoughts about this, I'm sure. The provisional KOPW 2021. Toru Yano defeats Bushi in 7:34 by pinfall to become the provisional KOPW 2021. Now, people were like, I saw people on Twitter be like, why is Yano now go back to having a tiny trophy? You see, he won the big trophy for being the final KOPW 2020, and he gets to take that trophy home, presumably. He can put it in his fucking sports bar in Tokyo that he actually owns. That's not a gimmick. He has a fucking sports bar in Tokyo, very, very close to Cork and Hall. You could walk there and the Tokyo Dome, obviously, because those two buildings are close to each other. Yeah, you could walk to Yano's bar in 5 minutes probably from Cork, maybe 10 minutes, I don't know. But he could go display it there, he could display it in his house, whatever he wants to do. That trophy's done. Now he gets a new tiny trophy because he is once again the provisional king of pro wrestling. He gets to defend this thing all year long. Frankly, I hope he just holds it forever. It should be the Yano Memorial KOPW. Like when people were freaking out yesterday on the fucking Rambo and oh, why do we have these for? It's like, good. Keep. I don't want Hiroki Goto fucking around the KOPW. Even now he should be above that. It's like this fucking thing sucks. It's stupid as hell. No one even wants it. If it has to exist, it should be Bad Luck Fale doing a finger poke of doom to Chase Owens. That should be the quality of this trophy. So yeah, of course this match sucked. Of course it didn't matter. It was the only bad thing on the show, and I don't know what to say. It fucking sucks, and it's not going to go away. So at least it's on Toru Yano, and he'll do Toru Yano things. I mean, what else is there to say about it? Jeff, anything you want to say about the provisional KOPW 2021?
Yeah, John, I'd like to thank you for having me on because I have fucking nothing to say about this. Good night, folks.
Liam?
Yes, I do have something to say about this. It's very poignant, and I hope you listen very carefully. It's, I'll keep it short and concise. Fuck Chase Owens.
Okay.
Man after my heart.
That's it? Okay. Chris, what do you have to say about this?
Nothing.
John, the big baby.
El Phantasmo is a good wrestler. No, you know what I did want to say, though? I woke up this morning and I was thinking about how the end of the Rambo finished with Yano winning before he even got to the ring. I just wanted to say that's a good bit. That's my favorite moment in KOPW history. Real highlight. No, I don't even know what happened in this match. I looked at it. I saw it. But,
that's the other thing. We were in the Voice Wrestling Slack. It was me, Joel Abraham from the Super J Cast, JoJo, Remy, who lives over in Japan. We were all talking about our favorite Japanese ramen spots, and this match could have been fucking Misawa Kobashi for all I know, because I really did not pay any attention to it at all. So I don't know anything about how
it was not.
It was not okay. I didn't think it was.
This match has revived my hatred for whites. Sorry, Jay.
But yes, I didn't star rate it.
Wait a minute. Hold on. There's only one. Never mind.
I didn't star rate it because I didn't actually watch it. So there you go. There was 2 Stardom opening matches, which we cannot watch because Japanese TV networks can't get along. Utami Hayashishita, Saya Kamitani, and Azumi defeated Maika, Himeka, and Natsupoi. Saya pinned Natsupoi in 9:48 with the Phoenix Splash. And then also Mayu Iwatani and Tam Nakano lost to Julia and Sayuri Julia pinned Tom Nagano in 12:49 with the Glorious Driver. I think Stardom will put them up. I think that's what happened last year, right? Anyone know? I feel like that did happen. I don't know. Someone could answer in the chat or on the show if they know. I just don't remember.
I certainly feel like 2020 happened.
Okay. But yeah, Anwar, by the way, Anwar Starwind in the chat wanted to know what's next for Naito. I think he's going to take it easy for like the next 3 months or so. Okay. Velky says the match never went up, so I guess they never. I mean, he would know. So I guess you'll never see those two matches, folks. I apologize. But anyway, so yeah, he wanted to know what's next for Naito. I think Naito's going to like just take a couple months where he's not doing much of anything, honestly. I mean, that's my prediction. Maybe he'll do he, Bushi, and Hiromu can go for the Never 6-man titles or something. Like, that man needs a rest. Like, his knees are made of rubber. He had to carry an entire G1 block by himself, and like, he's gonna take a few months here. But
speaking of somebody being kept together with paper clips and painkillers and hairspray,
yeah,
Naito also fits that description.
But yeah, he's gonna take a break, and then I mean, if anyone thinks he's like never gonna be near the title again is in for a rude awakening, because I know the Naito haters are probably hoping that, and I've already seen some of them say that. But like, no, he would not go backstage and say he'll be back in the Tokyo Dome main event if he wasn't going to be back in the Tokyo Dome main event. You think people would learn their lesson with that when he said he was gonna be the first double champion? Everybody was like, "Oh, maybe he's just going into business for himself." Or, like, all year long in 2019, people tried to pretend like, "Oh, Naito could just be talking." And it's like, no, he made that happen.
Him and Okada are still both under 40. They're gonna do that in the fucking Dome again and draw a full house.
Yeah, Naito and Okada will be a Tokyo Dome main event next year, probably next year. That's pretty much my prediction. But I guess I think for the next few months he'll be, taking a little bit of a back seat, and that's fine. I mean, they cycle guys up and down. It's what they do.
He's got to go job to Kadani at Dominion.
That's true, job to Kadani. Okay, so let's wrap this up with some plugs. I'll start with you, Chris, because you probably had the most to plug. So go ahead.
Just sportofprowrestling.com. You can find all my statistical work and research pieces. Other than that, Twitter, the Chris Samsa, THECHRISSAMSA. Yeah, I'll keep it succinct tonight.
John, anything you want to plug?
Sorry, I just. Okay, plug.
John would like to plug his Among Us games, where he. I actually don't even remember what the fuck you do in those games.
I'm just a baby.
You just kind of exist, yeah. And so I can't be like if you're a Griffin, I'd be like where you lie like you're a sociopath.
Yeah. Griffin who's a piece of shit. Follow me on Twitter if you want at FatMansAlright. I do Voices of Wrestling stuff. I do music stuff. I play in a band called Timeshares. I play for songwriters named Maxwell Stern and Roger Harvey. Search all those things on music things, and you'll probably find me playing guitar somewhere. And it was very cool to be on with Chris, Liam, and Jeff. Thanks for having me. Let's all go to bed.
Liam, what do you got to plug?
You can find me on Twitter at Liam_D_McCann, where I talk about lots of things that are not pure, and I thirst over Jake Lee.
And finally, Jeff, what do you want to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Andrews21. I am doing an article this month in Monthly Pure Risu, so you can look out for that, and I occasionally write on VOW, so that's about it.
Alrighty. Of course, folks, you can follow us on Twitter at WrestleOmakase, Wrestling Wouldn't Fit. I want to send a special shout out to everybody who listened to this live. Thank you for getting up early with us, and I hope you enjoyed listening live. Of course, the patrons got early access to this too. So if we ever do anything like this again in the future, which we definitely will do for Wrestle Kingdom again next year, maybe we'll do it for some other bigger shows later this year too. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, you want to sign up at patreon.com/WrestlingOmakase for only $5, and that will get you access the next time we do anything like this. Of course, to everything else we do on there too. All the historical content, all the tournament coverage, all the stuff coming up in 2021. But yes, thank you for your support if you are a patron. Thank you for listening if you're just listening on the free feed. And we will see you next time.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at betonline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit betonline.net today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
This morning, Jen woke up, made 3 breakfasts, did 2 loads of laundry, and 1 conference call. But she also saved $25 because Jen uses a new innovation from Huntington called Money Scout. It analyzes Jen's checking account to find money that's not being used and moves it to her savings automatically. Learn more and enroll at huntington.com/moneyscout. Huntington. Welcome. Message and data rates may apply to text alerts. Money Scout is subject to eligibility, terms and conditions, and other account agreements. Member FDIC.